Welcome back everyone to week number 4 of the GeoGuessr World League. I'm your host Ziggy, and as always, I'm joined by Gelotris. How are we doing, Gelotris?
We are doing great. I've been waiting too long for this, a whole week. It feels so long when you're looking forward to it, you know, but yeah, we are back.
Yeah, it's always a long wait, but it's a lot of content. Every week you have 6 hours of watching on a Sunday because nothing else is going on, so that is always nice. But let's start nice and easy, Gelotris. Why don't we start by explaining how the game works? How do you play GeoGuessr competitively?
Yeah, how does GeoGuessr work? You get dropped off anywhere in the world with Google Street View image available. Then you look around, look at your surroundings, try to gain some information. Have your map on the bottom right, open it up, click somewhere and see how close you are.
Sounds easy enough. They make it look easy. There's 3 different game modes players play. It's always going to be the same order. It's always going to be moving, no move, and then no move, pan, or zoom. The moving mode consists of just moving around. You can move freely. You can use every clue available. The only restriction being the 1 minute time limit. Then after that you play the no move mode. Players can pan around and zoom around, but cannot move from the spot they're on. And then ending up on the NMPZ mode, where they just get a still image and have to guess based off that.
You are right, Ziggy, and this is how the scoring in the league works. So pretty much you get a point for every win. However, if you 2-0 win, then you get a point extra. That makes it 3 points, so you really strive for that 2-0 victory.
Yeah, you kind of have to combine those moving skills together with the no move skills to get those 3 points. And here we have the schedule for today. Starting off with another Aussie matchup, just like last week. We have Zigzag, we have Leero. It's a rematch from the APAC regional finals from last year. Last year, Zigzag came up on top. But after that we have Armani Spaghet, V89 Sheena, and Captain Pan. Also very exciting. Any matchup other than those 4 that you're also very interested in that we might even skip into?
Yeah, I mean, especially on the second game slot, we see 2 Aussie matchups. We have Feneb, Zigzag, Leero, Kirania. That's gonna be interesting. Having 2 Aussie matchups there.
Yeah, I would.
Besides that, also on the slot after that, Katzu versus Feneb. 2 very, very strong moving players. That could also be very interesting to watch.
Yeah, moving games. Speaking of moving games could be very important today. I feel like a lot of mix of players that are very good at moving and a mix of players that are not really that good at moving, but we will see. As always, the moving mode gets more and more important. And here we have a quick little overlook over the standings. I don't know, do you want to talk about anyone in particular?
Yeah,
Maybe Captain?
Now we have a couple more games in, so it starts looking a bit more reliable, I would say, but still there are a couple players, especially if you look down there, Sven Gambit, Strefan, Kant, they don't really have their games in to really be, relevant in terms of their placement so far. But Blinky on top doesn't surprise us, as well as RC. We know those names from previous World Cups. They are very strong players, and yeah, I would say they deserve to be on top.
Yeah, what's interesting to see is that the players highlighted today that we have in our slot are towards the end of the table. So I think those could be very important matchups for them to get kind of out those like last places which you don't want to be in because you're kind of, 4 weeks is already a fifth of the way, so don't want to be too far down. So definitely want to get that win in today.
I would agree. Also for your mental, I think it's way better to see you a bit more in the middle or towards the top 12, which you need to end up in. So yeah, good luck to those players.
Yeah, good luck to them, and good luck to Leero and Zigzag that are coming up right now. As I mentioned, a bit of a rematch, if you can call it. On the other hand, we have Zigzags with a 71% win rate, 57% precision, which both sound pretty good to me. Average guess time of 25 seconds, no surprise there. I mean, we all know Zigzag. He likes his fast guessing, especially on the moving mode. He kind of likes to just put a guess down, put the pressure down, and then gives it to the enemy.
Yeah, and similar with Leero, putting down those guesses very fast. However, his win rate is a bit lower. It's on 38%. However, the really relevant stat here is the precision, and that's on 55%, which is also very strong. Makes up 53 guesses at 4.5k plus. And that being said, I would say it's, yeah, kind of equal now. 57 versus 55.
Yeah, in terms of those stats, looking quite equal. The win rate, not so, but as we said last week, only 3 weeks played, so nothing to be worried about.
Definitely, definitely. And you also have to be right in the right moment. So let's see what this matchup will show us in terms of locations.
Yeah, and as we can see, Zigzag being comfortably in 6th place, while Leero is number 32 right now. So a win for him is very important. And any predictions how the moving game will pan out?
I have a really hard time telling that in this matchup, especially Zigzag versus Leero, both not really known to be moving players. Therefore, I think Zigzag has an advantage, though he did practice a lot of moving for the World Cup last year, so I'm sure a lot of that practice is still in, and we start off in the United States. It seems like we don't have any front plates.
Yeah, Leero already found good information there. Highway 19 sign could be pretty big. Although you mentioned Zigzag's practice for last World Cup, I think he learned US area codes, so maybe he can spot one of those codes on a storefront, and I think that's what he is trying to do right now, because he's looking at signs that are not usually that helpful unless you know phone codes, looking at those storefronts, looking for those phone numbers. So very interesting to see.
Yeah, definitely. You don't really stumble up on good information usually in the US besides those area codes.
And he's thinking, he's like, 724? Where's that?
Yeah.
He's thinking very hard, and he sees the highway sign. Oh, he's trying to switch. I think he tried to switch to Pennsylvania the last second, but he actually gets closer in West Virginia.
That is quite unlucky for Leero, because I feel like Leero was very confident in this Pennsylvania. He had his plonk down very early in this round in Pennsylvania. Yeah, Zigzag still managed to get closer in the wrong state, but it's all about getting closer, and round 2 in Indonesia.
Speaking of good information, he instantly finds something very good there. I think Kabupaten Gorontalo, which is gonna give him a nice... And he actually gets the city, which is correct.
Yes, those regencies, so-called Kabupaten, are usually not shown on the map, but yeah, obviously Gorontalo is a known province in Sulawesi. Both in Sulawesi, however, Zigzag found the right information, as in where it is in Sulawesi, and picks up good points here.
Yeah, as we saw, Leero just moving away there. I think the sign was already spottable at the beginning, and Zigzag kind of just moved there with like a few clicks. So I think that's a common theme that we see, that some people look around at spawn, and some people don't. They just move right off if they don't see anything like in their face.
Yeah, that definitely happened a couple of times in this Pro League, where people just start moving, looking for info.
And Zigzag has very good information. Again, Ivano Francisco on the sign, that is very big. And again, it was right next to him.
In the right town. To be fair, they both didn't move too much in the beginning, so I'm surprised Leero didn't look at that. But he has a good vibe guess. He thinks it's western, so still ends up fairly close. And it wasn't actually inside the city, therefore reducing a little bit of damage, but still Zigzag picking up a lot.
And Leero on right now,
half HP now.
And I mentioned the game they played at APAC Regionals, and Zigzag actually won the moving game there as well, and he also had like almost over 5k points left. So maybe we're just seeing a repeat of what happened last year. Or this year, I should say.
We see Zigzag looking up here, spotting a smudger on the camera. I don't know if he's using that to region guess it, but he's very close to Moldova here. Again in the Ukraine.
Wow!
And yeah, that was something he knew, definitely.
This is what you really need to be when you want to be like a top moving player. Using info is one part, but using smudges while also looking around at your surroundings, combining all of this in one thing. It looks easy, but it's so hard to do it. You have to really know what to focus on, and you already have 1 minute to do all of that.
Yeah, and it looks like we are in Poland here with those holes in the poles. Polish pedestrian sign, Polish language. Again, Leero not really looking for the information, just slamming it down in the middle. However, Zigzag is doing a region guess here, and he's in the right side.
Wow, and that is almost enough to close out the game. Maybe there was a phone code or something. They're also very helpful in Poland, because Poland, a country as we see, that it's very hard to region guess unless you have some kind of information, like road numbers or telephone numbers.
Definitely, and Leero knows he has to pull something off here with 55 HP. He's trying to slam it down, putting the pressure on, trying to turn this game around. However, Zigzag still calm, looking around. A bit more western Brazilian Ceará.
Yeah, we could see the game here, as you said, 55 points, but...
It's more east. Yeah, that was the right strategy for Leero there. Putting the pressure on, and that's giving him a good chunk of points.
And as those multis climb, so does the chance of Leero actually turning this game around. I mean, 4x multipliers. If he gets a big country here, he could actually just close out the game.
Definitely. Yeah, or... I mean, Colombia is also a good country to get, because most of the time it's really hard to guess where you are. Also not the best country information-wise, so let's see if they get to any. And however, we have these polls, which are specific to a region around...
Medellin.
What was it? Medellin, yes.
Yeah, it's usually Medellin or north near the coast, and we had some palm trees, and I think I saw coast on Zigzag's screen or something very similar, maybe like a lake. So I'm wondering if this could be like the northern coast of Colombia, and Leero has a very specific guess right now. And it is.
It was indeed there, yeah. I did have to open up the map. It was Antioquia region, which I was looking for. The name of the region where Medellin is, but it actually was the next one to the north. But yeah, Leero's still in the game, still running the same strategy, just plonking it down.
And in Yucatan, I wonder if this is more like Tabasco, because I don't see the white soil, but it can always be Yucatan.
Yeah, I agree with the southern region of Mexico, or more eastern, but I don't know where exactly. Is still in, just slightly closer.
And now Zigzag is getting nervous. I mean, you're so close to closing out that moving game, but he just keeps getting a bit closer and a bit closer, and now you're on 5x multipliers. How does that really make you feel as a player?
Yeah, we end up being in Panama here, I would say. It's Kenya, actually. We have a... I just saw the single yellow in the car. But that also happens in Kenya, especially driving left here. We'll confirm it. We have a region guess down from Leero again, putting that guess down first.
They are in similar regions, close to Nairobi.
But 55 health is something where you definitely have to be closer, which isn't the case here, and Zigzag is happy to close out the game here after playing it very, very well, I have to tell.
It looked like a very one-sided game before Leero turned up his pace and just sent instantly, because you knew he cannot, you know, get any more damage in. But Zigzag, very deserved win, pretty much won 8 rounds out of 10, I would say. So
yeah, he really did put Leero in a spot where he had to change up the playstyle a bit and just send it quicker. It did work out for him 2 or 3 rounds, but in the end it was the win for Zigzag, and we move on to the no-move game here, starting off in Kyrgyzstan. Looks like the region around Narin, and they are both over there. However, Leero is on the eastern side of it, and Zigzag is on the western side of Narin. Does both make sense. It's both valleys, but I like the east of Narin guess better with how close the mountains are to us. It was very far west though, where you also get this tight valley.
Yeah. And I don't want to foreshadow, but in the APAC regionals, Leero actually won the no-move game, and also very clearly, so I want to kind of see if this trend continues. They just repeat the entire game they had in the regionals. Would be interesting to see whether pretty much nothing changed between the two, or if somebody improved in one mode.
This game could tell so far. Nothing really happened. However, we are in Spain here with those signs. I would assume. Yes, we have yellow reflectors on the guardrail, which are also very common in Spain.
Yeah.
But they take their time. They really have to think it through here. Not the easiest location. We are in a mountainous pine forest here.
I mean, these pine forests usually more common like east of Madrid, towards the coast a bit more. I kind of like Zigzag's guess there, so we will see.
Yeah, they aren't too far away from each other. It's a bit more north. Makes sense given the mountain size. However, you have that in a couple places in the country, so not much happening there again. And we move over to round 3.
You need a bit harder rounds to challenge these two players. And maybe a round like this where you have like pavement that is usually found near Surabaya in Indonesia, and that is where Zigzag is zooming in instantly. You have those cobblestone bricks neatly put in place, also with a bit of color even. Looks quite nice.
Nice, it does look nice. Especially combined with the tiled roofs, it should be somewhere around the East Java region at least.
And
Not
Leero,
necessarily in Surabaya, but it kind of looks like a big city. So to me it looks like we are somewhere around a big city, but let's see. Yeah, we are in
and it is
Surabaya.
just downtown, as I said. Surabaya pavement, probably the best meta in Indonesia, especially because usually region guessing Java is a bit harder if you don't have a pole available. So yeah, coming in clutch there. Always good to have that.
Definitely, especially in an urban environment, it's quite hard to make a region guess in Java. However, here we are in Sweden with the short dashed lines on the side. I would say it looks a bit more northern given how small the trees are. And they both are in the northern part of Sweden.
Yeah, it should be very far
not
north.
too far from each other with their plunks for now.
I really like Zigzag's guess. And yeah,
Yep.
he is on it. Coverage like this, snowy coverage, very short trees. Very common around the very north of Sweden, around the border of Finland. Yeah, very nice guess by Zigzag.
You really need to know your coverage clusters, where you get snow, where you don't get snow, where you get fall coverage, where you get summer coverage. That can help, especially in countries where you don't have too much coverage. And North Sweden doesn't have too many roads covered, and here we are in Chile with those poles. With an interesting round, because it kind of looks dry, but at the same time it also looks green.
Yeah, this is very common, like
so
west of Santiago, southwest of Santiago. You have these like speckled trees on the hills, but it's not like too dry. It's not like only shrubs, it's also a few trees, so... But they both know it, so I don't expect anything big to happen in this round. But they take their time, look around, make sure they don't miss anything.
Yeah, but I would also agree with that region guess. That's usually the area in Chile where it starts from getting dry deserty to a bit more green.
And they are both very close to each other, I think, but Zigzag actually on it.
He went a bit further south and got rewarded with 1.1k points.
Yeah, usually
And
Chile,
playing very well.
Chile, one of the easier countries. It's very slim. It's really easy to know in which kind of like zone of Chile you are, and then just click. And we have
Here
check
we
signs.
in Czechia with those arrows on the sign. It's not looking too hilly, however we have a little bit of elevation. So like somewhere in the middle, probably.
Yeah, Zigzag heading a bit more north there, but it's just south of Prague. Obviously the entire country is pretty flat, but with a few hills in between. That's pretty much the entirety of Czechia, I would say.
Yeah, you have a bit bigger mountains in the north, bigger mountains in the south and the east, so... Can't do anything wrong with just clicking somewhere in the middle, I guess. And now we are in South Africa with those lines, which are very common. In South Africa we are driving left. Zigzag is lining up the road. He does see the north-south angle, looking for a road that lines up. And same does Leero, also lining it up. Trying to find something that does match on the map with the terrain, with the road alignment. I like their guesses. Would say it's somewhere around south of Label.
I would agree, but this doesn't look like the easiest road to line up, just because there's so many available, and this kind of terrain is pretty common in a lot of areas in South Africa. So yeah, anything really down there, a bit more west even, you could see that.
Yep, I would agree. We are in a bend, not really a straight road to make a good lineup. Ends up a bit more west of where they thought it is. However, Zigzag again slightly closer, picking up more points.
Yeah, this is kind of how the game went in the regionals. He ended up with 5.1k health left, winning against Leero. So gonna be interesting to see whether it's gonna be a similar score or not.
Yeah, and it looks like we are in Mexico here. I really like the plonk down from Zigzag. We have some cacti, it is dry.
Very interesting round, I have to say, though.
Yeah, I like San Luis Potosi as a guess here. Yeah, Zigzag also in the west of it. With this landscape. It's again sandy, dry, here, but also green at the same time.
I don't like the Texas right now by Leero. I think it's more likely to be Mexico just because of the wall next to us. It doesn't look very American. That seems like a very old thing to do.
I would agree.
But maybe he's right. We will see. The game ends here. And it is Texas.
It actually is. Wow.
What a guess by Leero.
Zigzag also quite surprised about that, and so am I. It was a very hard US. I was for sure it's Mexico, but Leero getting rewarded with getting the right country there, turning around the game, and winning the no-move game mode.
Yeah.
We see the classic Leero lean there, waiting for the NMPZ game to start up.
Yeah, he's always chilling. I mean, the countdown is starting and he's still not even has his hands on the keyboard. But now he sits up, has to zoom in IRL, as we always do.
Yeah,
pretty
big
easy round to start
gravel
off.
road, looks pretty dry, so yeah, they both end up in another part of South Africa. And it turns out to be there. Yeah, not really a round where you had a lot of information. We didn't really have any road lines, no signs, nothing. However, sometimes you just need those distinct looking areas to get a good region guess down.
That is pretty much it. At some point you have to be very confident without any clues available. But a landscape like this is probably a better clue than any sign you can really get, because for South Africa standards that is pretty unique. And we move on to a very random European looking round. Can't really tell where we are.
Yeah, we have a Romania guess and one plonk down in Poland. I did not think Poland here.
Me neither, but we'll see where it ends up being.
It was pretty far north in Romania, and Leero going pretty far south in Poland, so he was maybe hedging towards that, reducing points there.
He can definitely be happy that that wasn't the middle of Romania or even south, because he would have lost a lot more points there. And you don't want to go in with a deficit like that in an NMPZ game up against Zigzag. Not the easiest thing to do.
Not really. Zigzag is a known NMPZ one-trick pony. And we are in a forest.
That is true. I mean, we have a lot of trees.
And it looks alpine, especially with that mountain in front of us. And they are both in the Alpines. One guess in Austria, one guess in Italy. Again, not too far from each other, but splitting the countries.
Yeah, Zigzag started off in Slovenia. Where will it end up being?
It was indeed in Italy. I think we had an Italian guardrail ending there. It was really hard to spot though, but
nice spotting there.
Leero really probably saw it, and yeah, it ended up closer, picking up a couple points. Maybe too much happening here so far though. However, on this round, which seems to be India, looks flat agricultural, so could be a bit more north in the country. However, you also have those parts in the middle. India known to be a very hard country to get a region guess down.
Especially in NMPZ when you're limited to only this frame of the picture. But, as you said, more agriculture is usually more north, especially if the field is flat like this. I agree, I would kind of go maybe Uttar Pradesh. But as you said, you have those random parts that are in the middle that are also flat, that really look like this. So it is up to them where they guess. And Leero is considering Cambodia right now, because I think I saw his screen moving over. Or maybe that was just zoomed in.
It's really hard to tell from this point, but yeah. They are both not really risking it. Somewhere in the middle is where they guess. Probably just trying to survive this round in case someone commits somewhere, but they both end up doing the same, and yeah, was just slightly more north.
Leero getting the correct state even. So nice there. And
very
evening out the
equal
game.
health here, yeah. Going over to round 5, which looks like a more interesting round now, because I am not certain what the country is. I thought
think
of
we are
something
in
like
the US, just because we are looking at the back of the car and we are not seeing any color like you would see in Europe usually. That's kind of how the players always distinct between US and Canada and the rest of Europe, because they look very similar in terms of vegetation. So here I would definitely tend towards America. I like the US, but I don't know where.
I would agree. There are just a couple countries where you don't see the car at all sometimes, but if you play it by chances, it's more likely to be the US here. However, it's very hard to get a region guess down again, because you don't really have a landscape to work with. You're surrounded by trees.
Zigzag, no guess down yet. He's thinking what continent to go, I think, because he goes Europe. We will see the game here. Will it be Leero? And it is, and he even gets a nice guess in the US for those standards.
Definitely.
Zigzag, not going to be happy about that, because I think without any car there visible, you're really limited to only the US and some countries in Europe, like Austria, like Slovenia. And that's where he guessed, I think. So, yeah, GG's to Leero. Breaking the curse from the regionals, actually taking the game. So, yeah, nice to see that, because he was at the bottom of the table, Zigzag already was at the top. I think it's a nice result for both, even though neither will be completely happy, because both want those 3 points. But I think it's nice, so GG's.
I would agree. Zigzag wasn't too happy about that one, especially after playing out the moving game this well. Yeah, the NPC game was very hard, I would say. We had some very nondescript locations. Therefore, yeah, it was kind of hard to really determine who the deserved winner is, but in the end, it was Leero. He was right when he had to be right in the US. And yeah, that's how we really picked up that win there.
Yeah, and we already have the next matchup waiting for us, which will be Feneb against Debray. I'm quite excited for this. Very different in personality, I would say. I mean, you have Feneb, very organized person, I think, personally, and then you have Debray, which is a bit of a wild card.
He's just doing whatever he wants to do. Sometimes he's just learning some random regencies in some random countries which no one learns, but that knowledge can be handy sometimes.
Yeah, and let's see how the stats are looking between those two. I think Debray had a rough start, but let's see. Feneb, 56% win rate, had a very good week 1. 59% precision, so higher than both Leero and Zigzag there. And average guess time 35 seconds. As I said, he likes to take his time. Probably only was pressured by his opponent to guess in 35 seconds.
Yeah, definitely. We have a win rate of only 25% here. But again, 57% precision. I think most of the precision stats for now come from good moving games. Because in the moving games, you really can show off this ability to get very close. And I think Feneb is one of those people who are really good at moving and who are really getting close in a short time. Yeah, and in terms of guessing time, it's very similar. I'm really excited for this match.
Yeah, I'm also quite excited, but you definitely can count out Debray, because he used to grind competitive mode when it was only moving available, so he's used to only using information, getting close but not 5K'ing. Feneb usually likes to take his time, 5K the exact location, which not very beneficial for this game what we're playing right now, which only benefits being fast, being close, and we jump right in.
We jump right in. And Deborah also someone who doesn't have a lot of games down in this Pro League so far. Therefore, the win rate isn't really telling us anything. And we start off what looks like the United States.
Yeah, coastal United States. Somewhere on the East Coast, probably.
Yeah, we have the water towards the northeast.
And we have an area code.
It's 301. I'm not sure what that is.
Debray seems like the person to
Could
know area codes.
MDA be something for Maryland A? Because
Maryland
he is
A.
in Maryland.
Maybe. Feneb scanning a bit of the coast, thinking, where could this be? He goes Long Island.
Yes.
Didn't spot a yellow plate, but
Yeah,
let's see where it is.
was indeed Maryland. Yeah, MD is the abbreviation for Maryland. I don't know if it did have something to do with it. I don't know what information Deborah used, but Deborah is also known to be very good at the US.
Yeah,
Knows a lot of stuff.
he knows every single county in the US, if I'm not mistaken. So
And
now we have some
this
information,
Range
which is
Road and Township Road.
yeah.
We are in Canada. They are both zooming in immediately in Alberta, looking for those. There's a certain pattern to those range roads and township roads in Alberta.
Yes, but they reset at certain points,
And
so you can
yeah,
find the double right thing. So it's always hard to know which one you're really on. You have to combine maybe the landscape a bit with the sectors you can be in.
Yep, and
So
they
let's see who
also
can find
reset
this.
very, as you said, very randomly. Not really bordering any town or anything like that. However, we have a guess down from Debris on the 290 and 13.
And I think Feneb is on the exact same spot as well.
So, don't think that's saying 290.
We will see. But as we said,
Yeah.
both of them finding the same road, but they found the exact same wrong road. Debray with the GG.
Yeah.
That's always a thing that happens
fair.
in Alberta. Always very funny to see.
Not uncommon, and we are in Australia, and Feneb is from Australia. Will this be an advantage for him here, or will Debray also show off his Australia knowledge? We are in somewhat of a forest. We have this red car, which used to be only a couple areas. However, now you see it way more often and in way more areas. Looks like perf to me, though, especially with the red soil.
Yeah, also the red car, very common around Perth if it's not like summary coverage.
Yeah,
quite
especially
like
in
that
a
region.
forest like this. However, it is quite mountainous there. Yeah. I like the south hover of Feneb there. Somewhere south of Perth where you get more of these mountains.
He's zooming in, trying to find something.
Couple state forests there, and they both end up being there. However, who's gonna be closer here? And it is Feneb. It is even further south. Looks quite surprised. And striking back a little bit.
Yeah, he will take those few points, but not very crucial to this entire game.
And again, we have a sign on spawn.
Zamboanga del Norte,
Zamboanga
very
del
good
Norte,
information.
yeah, they will both know this province in the Philippines. Both end up in the same area. Do we have more information besides that? I don't see a city name. Road
Yeah.
widening.
It says
Zamboanga.
Sindangan, which both found, but it's a road between two towns, which is being built. So it makes sense that it's between those two towns.
Yeah, and it also makes sense to just send this guest down and not really look for the 5k there in case we saw it happening. In case the opponent just moves away from the important sign at the start.
And I think Philippines is one of those countries where pretty much every single player in the Pro League will know every single province because the information is just so abundant and available in the Philippines. It's on so many signs, it's on schools. So you really have to know it. It's on every storefront pretty much. So you really need to learn those. But now we're in a country. Where are we? Are we in Brazil?
Given the language,
Well, this looks like Colombia then.
would
right?
say it's Spanish, yeah. Therefore it should be Colombia. yeah, besides that, there's not much to work with.
Feneb zooming in very far.
As I said earlier, Colombia isn't really the best country to get information quick. However, Feneb did see some body of water. So he's guessing next to some body of water, but it was not the right one. And again, both players not really too close, but Deborah getting a couple points. And we move over to round 6 with 3.5x damage.
And we are back. Debre is going to be happy again. He found an area code and he's instantly in. Wow, and that doesn't look like an easy area to get if you ask me. South coast.
Not. I mean, we have water. That's good to know. You are on the coast. However, the coast is pretty long in the US. And he ends up being in Texas. Let's see. It was indeed
it looks like it will be
Alabama,
enough.
And Debre will pick up the win here.
Yep.
And his US knowledge really came in handy this match.
Yeah, it was basically decided by the US here. I think he meant like 5.8k official damage just in the US alone. So yeah, it really came down to that. 2 phone codes, 2 5ks or 2 very good guesses by Debre, and that's all you need in the US.
Definitely. I know Debre had a little bit tough luck, I should say. He didn't get a lot of US locations in previous competitions. He was complaining about that. But now it is coming handy for him. And now we are, what seems like to be Cambodia with those houses on stilts.
Yeah, dry palm trees.
There, yeah. Just outside the capital, Phnom Penh.
And the question is whether Debre will need that NMPZ hat or not, because I think he needs this win to get those 3 points, because as we said, he had a rough start. He's at the bottom, so getting a win here would be pretty big.
Definitely, and it looks like we are in India again.
Debre likes India. I mean, he played a lot of India.
I know he did practice it, but he did practice it a lot when it came out. Nowadays there's way more coverage, a lot more stuff to learn. So I don't know if he did keep it up. But yeah.
I don't think you can really keep up in India, because there's so much coverage getting released with so many different cars that are randomly everywhere. Definitely seems like a horror scenario to learn. And he just guesses the middle. Makes sense, doesn't look like anything really.
See Feneb trying to line up something, however, the blur doesn't really allow to see something. And yeah, they end up in the default hedge if you don't know what it is. If you don't have any good clues, which are usually poles in India. I would say the best clue you can get is a pole. There are a lot of region-specific poles, however we didn't have any here. And we move on to this round in Malaysia. Driving left. We have a mile marker there, however I don't think you can read it. It is very mountainous, so the Sabah guess makes sense from both sides.
And
it will
lining up
come
road
down
again
to who is closer inside this region.
I really like Feneb's guess. It looks good on the map, but
yeah, I'm surprised about this. This is also something that has been out forever, the coverage in Sabah. It never really got updated, but still, it's just a couple roads there in the mountains, like maybe 4 or 5 roads, but they often look the same, and pro players still don't know how to distinguish them.
Yeah, and the problem is there's actually a lot of Gen 3 dates there. If you look at it, there's often the same road driven 5 times, and you can randomly get panos from a different date. Yeah. But let's talk about this round, which looks very cool if you ask me. You have some construction site going on here.
We have this drainage along the road on the side, which is very common to be found in Malaysia or Indonesia. They're both in Indonesia, and it is Batam Islands.
Yeah, Batam, known for these like random hills with red soil. So Debre saw that and instantly guessed there. Feneb also getting the island vibe, but going for the Bangka Islands, which look quite similar, but
yeah, it is a very committed guess if you think about it. It's like so far away from a lot of other things that can be possible. So therefore a high risk, high reward here for Debre. And we move on to this round, very flat. I do agree with the Argentina. Plonk down. However, I don't see any mountains, which you usually get a bit more west in the country.
Oh, Debre spotted mountains, and that's why he guesses near Mendoza.
He did see some, yeah.
Because my guess would have also been Nukin if I didn't see the mountains, so I understand Feneb going there, if those are really mountains. Feneb is gonna be in trouble.
And it actually was, yeah, it was really hard to spot. You kind of had to trust that it is actually mountains and not like clouds or foggy coverage or anything like that. And Debre playing this out very well. Very deserved 2-0, I would say.
Very cleanly. I think he lost like 1k points in the first thing, and now a flawless no-move game with some very good guesses. Yeah, deserved win. Debre finally getting those points he deserves, I think, because I think he's a player who belongs at least in the top half of all the players and not in the bottom. So I think he will get there in the end, but we will see if he can qualify or not. It's going to be a long journey, but a win like this, always good. 3 points. Not bad.
Yeah,
and we have some more results.
Consistent like that, then it's a good sign for him. We had other games going on simultaneously. It was Emirain versus Pan, and we have Pan picking up the flawless victory there with 2-0. And Kirania versus Spaghet, also a flawless victory for Spaghet here.
Yeah, very interesting to see Spaghet flawless in Kirania. Kirania, very good player, won the APAC regionals this year. So very interesting to see Spaghet on top there with a flawless victory, getting those 3 points as well.
Yeah,
Not
important points being made here, and this is the current standings.
As we see it, Debre moving up a bit. I think he will climb even more, as we can see. If he wins one more game, he's basically in 14th place. That's how close it is at the bottom right now. So we will see.
Yeah, it's only 5 matches for Debre, therefore. If you compare it to the players on the top who already have 10 games, something. Yeah, you shouldn't really look at the placement there. You should really look how the people play, and Debre really did show off how well he can play.
Yeah, we just talked about Spaghet. He won 2-0 against Kirania, which is going to be good because the next game we're looking at is going to be Armani against Spaghet. So maybe he can take that momentum and take another win against Armani. Obviously, not an easy opponent. But before that, we're going to take a quick break and see you guys with some more action after. we are back for some more GeoGuessr action, and what better action than having Armani against Spaghet, as we just saw Spaghet coming off a 2-0 victory against Kirania, and Armani actually is flawless because he has only played 2 games so far in the league and won both of them last week, both 2-1, so he won both games on an NMPZ. I think the NMPZ game that we saw on our stream was very wild. We had some very wrong continent guesses, which was very interesting to see. Always shows that all the pro players are just mortal. But Joe, how do you feel about this matchup in general?
Yeah, I would agree. I still think back to that game Armani had on NMPZ, or in general, I would say Armani gave me the feeling as if he wasn't really locked in. I think he has way bigger potential than he did show off last week. So therefore, I think Spaghet really has to, keep his momentum, keep also being locked in, and give his best to beat. I would say Armani in general is a bit more favored, I would say. However, Spaghet really improved in the last time, therefore it's really hard to tell.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. It's also hard to tell whether those like inconsistencies of Armani's game last week were just because it was his first games. So for him it could just be the first games nerves, you know, haven't played yet, first games, maybe we're a bit nervous, especially on NPZ on hard rounds. Can always happen. But as we see, 67% win rate on those games. 44% precision. It looks very low, but that's just because he went to NPZ and they had some very hard rounds there, which puts it a bit down. 28 seconds makes sense, a bit on the lower side. Nothing surprising.
Yeah, and we also have a win rate of 30% here for Spaghet, precision of 51%, which is a bit higher. But yeah, you have to be right in the right round. We have average guess time of 38 seconds. A bit higher than average, I would say. But yeah, those are the stats combined.
Yeah, both a bit lower on the precision. Armani, maybe because of a low game count and hard rounds. So we'll see whether they can both improve. And let's see where they are in the table. Spaghet actually pretty high up. Armani looks like he's doing not well, but as I said, he won every game so far. It's 2-1. So don't let this fool you. He is definitely on fire.
Not at all. We have Spaghet with 10 games there, right? And Armani with 4, therefore points. Never mind.
It's also games if you think about it, depending whether they won on 3-0 or not. 2-0 or not.
Actually,
but
you can. It could be right, but I wasn't 100% certain. And we are right into the game, starting off in Australia with those polls. We should be in Victoria. We also have signs to Melbourne.
And Bendigo, big towns.
Oh, Bendigo's also on it.
I'm expecting 1 5K at least. Although
from then on, you should just use the road numbers. B75. And Spaghet is on it. However, I don't know if Armani did spot the B75 yet.
Yeah, we're on a railroad. Can be used as a pinpoint. Usually they always appear on the map as like gray lines.
Yep. I would say Spaghet should be closer given he is on the right road. However, roads can be pretty long in Australia. So even with a guess somewhere else.
And Armani found it, I think, and he's also on a railroad. Not quite the 5K, but close enough.
Yeah, to be fair, he did spot it last second, therefore didn't really have the time to adjust it to the 5K, but got there in the end. And yeah, we move over to Japan. Should be good for Spaghet.
Yeah, should be good for him. And what I like to mention is that Spaghet has like a different camera positioning than anyone else. You can see his hands, so you can see him move. It's always interesting to see, but because for GeoGuessr in general, you don't really need your left hand unless you put your guess in or you're fast moving. So it's always interesting to see that the hand is still on the keyboard, even though you're not actively using it.
Oh, mine is always on the keyboard.
Same for me. It's just the gamer stance,
because
you know.
I use WASD to move around as well.
Yeah, for short movements that can be good.
Yeah, if you have to adjust like only one step, then it's pretty good. And also to point the check mark, especially Yeah, because that's also on the left side of the keyboard. But we have a prefecture road here.
And Spaghet is on it, I think.
Yeah.
Judging by how it looks. It's gonna be massive.
Yeah, he was right on it, 90 meters, and that
and
is the
new
first
5K animation.
5K, love that.
Which was added during the week. It can be a bit irritating when you see it the first time. You're like, what just happened to my screen? And we're in Japan again.
Yeah, give us one more. Give us one more, Spaghet. Love some good 5K animations. And again, they are looking at the transformers. They are looking at the pole plates, which are very good clues in this country. We are in Japan.
But town names can be very helpful as well, especially for Spaghet, because I feel like as someone from there, you just know some place names, which just the average player just can't know. Maybe because...
Especially reading kanji is a very huge advantage in moving games. Because you have town names pretty much everywhere, but they are mostly in kanji. Some big body of water there as well. I don't know, we don't have any plonks down. I don't know if the players have a vibe guess yet. Spaghet in Hiroshima and one guess in Osaka from Armani, and it turns out to be somewhat in between them.
Yeah, close to Naruto.
Hawaii Island. Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. They moved quite a good time, but didn't really get the right information there, and we are in Europe now.
Yeah, speaking of finding the right information...
You take this one away from me, Ziggy.
Why should I?
Because...
I need to see where we are first. Ooh. We have those roofs, which we should be very far north in Germany. But we have some...
like yellow buildings.
Yellow buildings, though, which is more of an eastern thing.
East, yeah.
But rock walls. I think we're like...
We have a good mixture of northern clues and eastern clues. I am not so sure here.
Rostock, it said Rostock.
Rostock,
so
yeah,
that's a very
that makes
big town.
sense. We are on the north coast, in the northeast.
Good spot there
Given
by
the
Armani.
eastern clues and the northern clues, it made sense. Yeah.
Landkreis
Oh,
Vorpommern-Rügen.
Vorpommern-Rügen. If you know Rügen Island, then you also know this Landkreis.
But Spaghet doesn't know, so he will get a bit of damage here.
Yeah. Rügen is that northeastern island sticking out of Germany.
Yeah, the funny part is Armani is in the wrong Landkreis, because that is Landkreis Rostock.
Yeah.
So technically Spaghet could have been closer, even though he only had the sinus information and not the poster.
Yeah, he definitely had the better information to get closer.
But he got the last second.
He just had to know it, yeah.
Last second, didn't know it. And your head is really struggling to... Because you also have to think about, where do I guess if I don't find this? Has to be your second thought, so...
Yeah, definitely. And we have a plonk down from Armani in the Davao region, or Mindanao, I should say. Right outside in the Philippines.
Very rural road here. I don't expect anyone to find anything helpful. There was some kind of marker on Spaghet's screen, but that didn't look like anything helpful. As to where this is,
so sure.
I don't know.
I did like the Mindanao plonk down, but it's really hard to tell here. Not much to work with. Philippines, quite a hard country to make a region guess in, just given a landscape.
Armani's switching because he's thinking about Mindoro, but he was... And we have a max north guess, so we'll definitely see some damage
a lot
here.
of banana trees. Ooh, that pay off for Spaghet, and with 3 times damage, that is game.
Yeah.
Wow.
Armani not going to be happy, because usually with very dry coverage, north is always the standard guess, but we all know there is some random, very dry coverage in the south. As you said, Mindanao, always a region which can be very baity, just by how dry it looks. We had a few banana plants, as you mentioned, which also maybe made Armani think more south. But very nice guess by Spaghet.
Yeah, I agree. That was a very committed guess, and he's getting rewarded for that. And we move over to no move.
But maybe that's just how Armani plays, not focusing too much on the moving part, winning the no move, and then usually just winning the NMPZ.
Yeah, and this looks like Not so sure. Is it southern Colombia or is it Ecuador or is it...
I think it's Colombia, especially with these banana trees, which should be just west of Manizales. That's usually where you find these roads like this. Like, yeah, west of Manizales. That's usually where I expect a road like this to be, but we'll see.
Yep, I would have guessed where Spaghet is guessing because it gives me like this border vibe between Colombia and Ecuador. But it actually was
where I said it
in
would
the
be.
middle of where the coverage is in Colombia.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty good meta. If you have a very rural road on the mountainside and you have banana plants, you should guess there in Colombia. Not sure how known that is, but it's
good thing to know.
Pretty good. So far, every time I used it, it was correct. And we have maybe another meta that is interesting to use, which is sunny coverage
sunny
in Bhutan.
Coverage.
Bit of a
More
fake one.
eastern, and Armani does trust the sunny coverage here being in the east.
Spaghet, on the other hand, does not. He's very far west. He's even considering going the furthest west valley.
The Paro Valley. Okay, now he's switching up. Yeah, it was indeed east. Some people call it a fake meta, but I think it's only like 1 or 2 roads in the west where you get sunny coverage. Therefore, I think it's always good to just guess east.
Yeah, those are the type of rounds that seem unreal to somebody who doesn't play the game. But yeah, obviously to Armani, that's a walk in the park. It's just an average guess on a Sunday.
Definitely those clues that you don't really pick up in the beginning.
Yeah, we had a very boring round here. That's why I didn't really talk about it. Just a standard island. Just looked very flat. Just click the middle and you're gonna be okay.
There was not a lot to work with in terms of making a region guess. I don't think there is a lot in Ireland as well, besides some mountains in the north and the west and rock walls in the central west, and that's about it. And here we are in Australia, pretty big country. We have good elevation. Seems like we have a Victoria specific pole there in the distance.
Yeah, but we have some mountains and some vineyards.
I did not think of Victoria here. You can get this pole in other places as well. I have seen it in Queensland as well. So I wouldn't fully trust it. But yeah, given everything else, I think it could fit.
Yeah, especially with
like
the vineyards.
in the mountains
really
of
never
Victoria.
seen it in the north, so
yeah.
Decent guesses by both players.
Somewhat of the same region, obviously, with the mountains and the greens. That does make a lot of sense inside Victoria State. And we move over to a round where I could...
I mean, it is the US, I think, judging by how the landscape looks.
Pole. Yeah. Especially with that single insulator pole. I think the US makes sense also with this type of gravel. Does make a lot of sense. We are somewhere in the dry part, so you have those in the north, you have those in the south as well.
Yeah.
But more common in the south towards like New Mexico, Arizona, Utah has those landscapes, but you can also get them in Montana, Wyoming. Those are the states you should consider with this landscape, I guess.
Yeah, both really not sure. Both in Nevada, though. And now Armani is switching, and now he's considering Argentina. I don't hope he doesn't switch. And ends up being New Mexico, which was the first state you mentioned, actually.
Yeah, it makes sense, but yeah, it's a lot of states I mentioned, to be fair, because this landscape can definitely happen in a couple states.
To be fair, usually New Mexico has those like typical plants that you also find in like something like Mexico, so those not being there makes it a bit harder. And we're back in the Philippines, and we have a middle guess.
Looks like Philippines to me. Given the vegetation, the road.
And we have a Saba guess. Could it be Saba? Maybe it's White Car.
I did not think so, but...
Oh, Spaghet, so lucky actually.
Yeah, Armani's not happy about that one. being in
Anywhere
the right
else?
country, but still only picking up just a couple points because he's still pretty far away from the actual location.
Yeah, anywhere else, and he would have pretty much won the game on the spot. It could have been Palawan, and Spaghet would have been closer. Even that could have been even more funny. But yeah, Armani a bit tilted after that, but cannot lose his focus because we're in Europe and
No, not on this
interesting
one
road here.
where he has to be on the lock. I did consider a couple countries here. I did think that building looked like France. However, the landscape looks
wait, we
more
have
like
these plantations which are usually found near Ingolstadt in Bavaria, in the southeast. Yeah, those like.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, now I see it.
So I think we're like north of Munich and near Ingolstadt. Yeah, very famous actually. If you learn anything about Germany, that's probably one of the best metas to consider. Those plantations.
Yeah,
very
common there.
Very, very regional.
I think also along the Bodensee. Was it along the Bodensee?
Yeah,
you can
also
also
there.
get them.
Also there. But the overall buildings look.
Those two areas do make sense with them. And we move over to another round in the US, I would say. Pretty big divided highway here.
This looks like a very hard round. It looks like
100% certain. It looks like we are a bit more north in the country given the pine that we have, but I'm not sure. What do you think?
I am very split on this. We have some interesting like elevation here. I'm not sure where we are. Are we actually in New Hampshire? I was considering New York, but there is some kind of state shield on the sign and I just can't see what that would be.
Yeah, I cannot tell as well, but as I said, these trees look a bit more northern. And given the slight hilliness, we could be somewhere around the northeast, so yeah. I like both guesses actually. They are pretty far away from each other, but I like both guesses. And it ends up being Nova Scotia.
Yeah, the signs looked very weird for the US. I didn't want to say it because you said US, both the players were in the US, and I was like, why does the sign look not US? Because that is not usually a state shield that you see on a sign. That looks something you see in Canada. But
yeah, I did not even consider Canada there, given the looks, but
I didn't want to consider it because I just
guess.
can't bring it over my heart to say it. And Spaghet almost winning in the wrong country, so a few wrong country guesses here by him, and he's in front right now, but he could lose in Czechia at this point. I mean, it's big enough.
Yeah, Armani playing it safe, just clicking the dead center of Czechia, but so does Spaghet. Therefore, this shouldn't be a meaningful round. It's kind of a gamble. You could try to gamble it on this round, because you know you kind of have to close out the game. Because we are about to hit the last round.
Yeah, the final round, 5.5x multipliers apply here. And it is in Kazakhstan.
Really, yeah.
Which can
I think this is the lake road, right?
Yeah, it looks, and with the road angle being northeast, I think we are on the bit more northern part of it. It bends a lot though.
Yeah, there are a couple areas that make sense on the road. Now Armani is switching up a bit further north. I'm not sure if that's still the same coverage type you would get. And he's switching back. He doesn't really
like
perfectly
Spaghet's
line
guess.
up, but
I
I
really
think
like Spaghet's
especially
guess.
on 5.5x, you really need to be on point here on the road.
Yeah, both people know the road, but it's just about where are you on the road, and this is deciding the game.
And it was actually South. Armani is happy about that one. That will be game. And Armani is closing it out.
Yeah.
Both players on the wrong road.
Funnily enough, I think Armani was not sweating at all in that game, but that Nova Scotia round where Spaghet got like 4.5k points in the wrong country almost cost him the game. But yeah, very deserved win. And now we head into NMPZ. And Armani's not unfamiliar with that. He won both of his previous games on the NMPZ mode. So let's see if he can be a bit more consistent than what we saw in the last game on stream.
Yeah. NMPZ, a game mode Armani is playing the most. We have some short reflectors here, which is very common in Shikoku. However, what else do we have? I don't see any other clues. We do have a Shikoku guess from Spaghet. Maybe he did spot the short reflector and is using that. But Armani isn't too far off. Spaghet is also pretty far east inside Shikoku.
Yeah, maybe he knows something because it's very flat, and maybe the western part is not flat. Who knows?
Was actually a Goya. Wow. I mean, it wasn't a very short reflector, but it was a short reflector. Very common in Shikoku, so I can see that guess, but sometimes just have those random clues somewhere else.
Speaking of random clues, there's a leaf on the camera. Not one I have seen before. It's not the sponge TGS leaf that we all know.
No. I thought it's a shadow for a second, but now that you mention the leaf, I would agree.
It looked like the sponge leaf that fell down from the camera. To me, it actually looks like the exact same shape.
Maybe it's the last panorama where you have the leaf falling down the camera, but yeah, we are in Australia. We are somewhere between Victoria and South Australia, I would say.
Wow.
Wow.
Queensland. Didn't really cross my mind. It was a bit dry, but you kind of get that in a lot of regions, so
definitely.
Pretty good guess by Armani there.
Yeah, just given the dryness and the landscape, I thought Victoria does make the most sense.
Speaking
especially
of
in the western part.
Landscape here. I
have
think this is New Zealand, yeah.
Yeah.
And we have a Turkey. This is not Turkey. And we have Turkey, New Zealand, and we're both in call. This is pretty funny.
Oh, okay.
But we have a switch.
Spaghet realized.
And it should be somewhere in the middle part of the North Island. I really like Armani's guess. It's not the exact road he's on, but it should be quite close. Ooh, actually new coverage.
Wow. That's interesting. Yeah, I am never getting that.
Yeah, that is one of the new coverages.
Okay.
I think in Wellington, or maybe it wasn't even Gen 4. I couldn't really tell.
I don't think I've seen that before, but yeah.
And the round started, and how is Armani zooming so fast? He's already on the map.
I don't know if he saw something, but there could be maybe some wineries in the distance, because he's in Mendoza. Both are in Mendoza. This makes sense.
Yeah, with
Also
wineries.
with the winter coverage, you see a lot there. But it was actually in San Juan, a bit further north. And with bit, I mean 150 kilometers. Someone could have picked up good points there. But by default, you probably go with the Mendoza, I guess.
Well, still 8 points.
8 points are 8 points.
And I think we're staying
So
somewhere in Latin America.
Here, yeah, we have those yellow curbs, which are common in the Americas. We have a long plate, which you see... I mean, nowadays you see it in way more countries, because they all have the same plates now.
Yeah, Argentina also switched to long plates. Kind of very similar style to Brazil.
Yeah, but given two of them, I think maybe Chile is more likely.
It's very hard for me to make out anything in this.
Yeah.
Like the overall architecture.
It is a bit too close. I don't see the other license plates on the
we
car.
have a split
and we have a
here.
split up, so I can totally
And
understand
he's
the
thinking
split
about
up.
Mexico, but not Chile, so
No.
I think we might see the
Mexico
game
still
here.
has short plates for sure.
Might see the game here. I'm pretty sure.
It was indeed Chile. It was just north of Santiago. Armani not happy about that.
Spaghet
but
was in
it
Santiago
does
first.
survive.
If his marker stayed there, he would have just closed the game out in one single guess. Armani didn't lose any points before this round.
That would have been game.
That could have been big.
We move on to a Sweden round. Again, we have these short dashes on the side. I think we have a flag in the distance as well. Yellow signs, those blue and white reflectors. All good clues for Sweden.
These dotted road lines there on
that.
the left, which are kind of weird. Those are also pretty Swedish.
Yep.
Everything speaks for Sweden here.
A lot of clues for the country. However, where you are is not easy to tell. It was Karlstad.
And the average middle guesser would have been closest here, probably.
Yeah.
Always
They both
interesting.
committed in either way, I would say. Spaghet was fairly north for the standards of that round, and Armani was pretty far east.
But it might all not matter, because this looks like a very big country.
It is a big country. It does look like Russia. We have slight red tint on the road. I don't know if that's a clue for some regions. Overcast coverage could also help someone who does learn coverage. I think we are somewhere around the Euros.
Yeah, and that's where both players are right now. But even that area is big enough that we could see a lot of points going either way.
Yep.
Because
Both are west of Chelyabinsk, but Armani actually in the Oblast. However, Spaghet is a bit further west in Ufa.
And where will it be?
And it was actually west of Ufa. Will that be enough? The
looks
Russia
like it will
is
be
a big
enough.
country,
Oh, no.
and it is just barely enough to survive for Armani.
Can Armani pull it off again? 3 games in a row winning on NMPZ. Geologist, where are we?
It's like we
Tell
are in
us.
Turkey. It looks like Denizli coverage.
I agree.
Have a Denizli guess? Yeah, I like
Shak.
that guess a lot. Like somewhere north. Yeah, I like that guess a lot. Anywhere from Afyon to Denizli does make sense here. We have a Konya guess, which should be wrong. And I would say Armani is closer here, definitely.
It will be in the middle.
Pretty far east. It was Afyon. So yeah, anywhere from Denizli to Afyon has this coverage.
That could have been almost game for Armani. Now he needs to get closer again. And what a round 2.
We move on. Is this Russia again? I think.
This looks like, yeah, like Komi, Arkhangelsk, Oblast.
Yeah, I thought first, but
Now I'm not sure anymore.
that looks weird.
The road, I've never seen a road like this in Russia, really. But
Yeah,
the
the
rest
road
looks
doesn't
very
really look
Russian.
like it. Yeah.
And we have a Russia guess, I think, by Spaghet because he's zooming into
I
Europe.
like the Russia guess more, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's Canada.
Yeah, anything
So
can
we
happen.
have a continent
GG's.
split up here. This is the game. And it turns out to be Ontario. It's new Ontario coverage. And Armani does close it up with only 73 health left.
Wow, the plot armor stays intact. Armani winning every single game so far. Every single time it went to NMPZ, and he can't really make it any more exciting to watch, if you ask me. What a game.
Yeah, definitely. Armani's games have been the most fun to watch so far. It's really an up and down. He's on the wrong continent, in the wrong side of the country. But when it matters, when he really has to get close, he does.
Yeah, and sometimes the right continent is all you need, as you just saw. I mean, Russia made a lot of sense. Maybe there was a copyright that helped. The road looked very weird, but congrats to Armani getting that correct. Not a round I think everyone would get right.
No, not at all. Especially in NMPZ, it's often just enough to get the country right, as you already said. That's what it's coming down to in the NMPZ games most of the times.
Yeah. And next up we have familiar faces with Feneb with Zigzag. I think the game has already started. I think we're just gonna jump right in, and we're gonna jump in on a
And
loss.
we got a little peek there.
Zigzag winning the moving game.
It
Bit of a
was in
surprise.
Australia.
It was Australia. That is true. So very interesting. I would have loved to see that round.
Yeah,
It's gonna be in Bloom's recap, so definitely check that out on YouTube. It's pretty much coming out every week after a few days after the games have been played.
And we are back.
Yeah, we are not leaving the
We're getting
US.
blessed with another Australia round on this Aussie matchup, Feneb versus Zigzag, on the no move mode after Zigzag did win the first moving mode game. And we have an Adelaide guess here from Feneb. And Zigzag also in South Australia, but on the other side, on that peninsula west of Adelaide. Feneb is
Zigzag
still
knows.
adjusting it a little bit.
Wow.
And he is on point, only 1 kilometer off.
I mean,
in
it has
his
to be
home
said,
state.
home state advantage. A bit unfair for Feneb. I think Feneb is from the ACT from Canberra. I'm not sure if that's correct. I just think I heard that. Might be wrong, might be right. That's how GeoGuessr guesses work. You might be right, you might be wrong, you know.
Yeah.
Just guess the
Might
state
as
based
well
on how he
just
looks, you know.
guess where players from. And we move on to this Panama round with this cobbler. Given the fences, given the landscape, everything does fit. We are somewhere in the mountains, which are a bit split around in the country.
Yeah, this
So
looks like
you kind
southern.
of have to commit or hedge it. And it was a bit more west. Very interesting. I didn't expect it to be there. Consider a couple regions. That wasn't one of them.
Yeah, as you said, the mountains are kind of split everywhere. Even in the south you have some very dry hills. Didn't look like the very big hills in the north, so it makes sense that it's not all the way up there.
Yep. And we have a Thailand round. A couple signs, a couple shop fronts. I don't know if they contain the right info you need. However, Feneb seems like to be confident with the region. He just panned around a little bit and it put a guess down. But Zigzag was in the same region initially, I think. Did adjust it a bit to the south. He's playing it safe, going to the center. And it indeed was. Feneb looks disappointed. I don't know if he did see something or read something wrong.
Yeah, I mean, he always has this impression after every single, like, suboptimal guess. He's just like, oh no, what did I just do? But he can't be too hard on himself. He has to reset his mental.
Nothing happened.
Sometimes,
so far in the
middle
game.
clicking works, sometimes it doesn't. This looks like a very 5K round, if you ask me. This looks like a very big volcano in, like, East Nusa, or maybe... I don't think it's Bali. It looks more like East Nusas to me.
Yeah, I like Zigzag's guess, because you have that volcano there, and you have that body of water. But yeah, in Indonesia, that can happen on a lot of islands. Let's see if Zigzag is correct here.
Could be. And he is
Indeed
on it.
Is 550 meters, spotting the right volcano there in Bali. Getting the GG from Feneb, fair play.
Yeah, he's a gentleman. He's a fair player. Zigzag flawlessing so far. I think I saw the HP in the moving game and it looked like Zigzag didn't lose too much. So as of right now, Zigzag is having a good day.
We move on. We have these concrete slabs, which are very common in Thailand and the Philippines. They are checking copyrights. They are looking at everything they have.
We have water to the
driving
north.
On the right side. We have this much on the front left. That's a couple regions. If you learned them, you can make a good guess, probably.
Yeah, very interesting guess by Zigzag. They're going very far east.
Yeah, but they both end up in Mindanao. It is Mindanao, but on the western side, and Feneb does get some points back. Very important for his mantle there. He's happy.
He's smiling.
And we are in Nigeria here. We have some signs.
Yeah, wow. I mean, that was the quickest round.
Yeah.
They could read it, we couldn't. We have a bit of a smaller screen, just like you guys. So, a bit harder to read for us, but for these, it's pretty easy. And
there's probably also a second of delay until we get to see what they look at. So, not much to say there. However, here we are in a forest with a black wheel car, which is very common in Maine. Or it was. It was, because this coverage did expand a lot. So, if you're an old school player, you still go with Maine, and that's what Zigzag does.
I mean, it doesn't look wrong for Maine, don't get me wrong.
Down in Maine,
I would just go a bit more conservatively and maybe just go eastern Pennsylvania, Hedgecheek Tire northeast.
Yeah, especially after you know this car is in a lot more regions in the country now.
Feneb's going very far south though. I don't know if it could be there, but I would be surprised if it's all the way in West Virginia.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. However, it does look like Maine a lot. Can't lie.
We also have some property markers, which are usually more found in the northern states and Canada, obviously. So
wow, he is very committed.
Wow, he's almost in Nova Scotia.
Yeah, I don't know what he is cooking up there. He got that coastal vibe. It was indeed Maine.
And it'll be more than enough to close out the game.
Zigzag does close it out indeed. A 2-0. Very, very well played by Zigzag. That he is on point today. He is on point.
He is, and especially with that guess, as you said, Maine black car, not very reliable these days, but Zigzag still trusting it. But you don't have to only use the black car. You can, you know, combine it with how it looks. And if it looks like Maine and it's black car, you know, why not try it out? Very interesting that he committed all the way east. He was basically almost in the sea. Not sure what he was thinking there. But
I think he got a coastal vibe. He got a coastal vibe because it was indeed on the coast.
That's true.
So I don't know if he did maybe spot some body of water through the trees. I'm not sure. We didn't see it. But yeah, a very, very well-deserved victory for Zigzag there on the Aussie matchup.
And we are jumping into another game. Kirania versus Leero, another Aussie matchup, and we're already on the NMPZ mode. Quite interesting. 1-1. Pretty much even health as of right now. Round
have
3.
A country split here. We did mention it earlier. NMPZ often does get down to get the country right. But Leero switching back to Sweden, so they actually end up both in Sweden. He was in the Baltics first, I think. And it indeed was.
Both going south, but it was just the south coast near Stockholm.
Yeah, slight lead for Leero here, but nothing to worry about. Especially in NMPZ, especially with locations like this.
Yeah, we're just getting countries that are very hard to region guess in general, and then especially on NPZ, on a forest road. Not what you really want, but you know, the opponent has the same image, so you can't really complain.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is very far north in Japan.
Yeah, the cabbage, we have some type of cabbage, so maybe northern-ish. I don't think it's Hokkaido.
Yeah,
but
it's like the small cabbage, so yeah, not Hokkaido, but maybe north on the mainland. It was just Niigata. And is Kirania Niigata? I'm not sure. He's
yeah, he's
between
somewhere
three
close to it.
prefectures there, but Leero is closer there. Nothing to worry about. Again.
And wow,
And how do
are we in
guess
northern Spain?
this?
Galicia. These look like roads you see
The
in Galicia.
vegetation, the greenness, the rock walls do all fit, I would agree.
That could have
Also
been a
this
good
wooden
insta-sent by
shack.
Leero, because this is a very hard round. If Leero put the pressure on after 2 seconds or 3 seconds,
Yeah.
Kirania
This
is in a lot of trouble.
Definitely. This is definitely a type of round where you have to think it through. So if you get the vibe quick, you should maybe put the pressure down, because as we can see, Kirania is considering Czechia here.
We could be wrong, but I really like Leero's guess here, and we'll see where it ends up being. And it is, yeah,
It's
Portugal.
Portugal, actually. Wow.
Also makes sense, but with these trees, I really like the northern Spain guess, but Portugal obviously has them as well. You know, nice little quick look. We joined right as the action exploded. Pretty
It's
funny,
nice to
considering the
see.
TNT on Kirania's avatar, but yeah, nice.
Yeah. Representing his clan, TNT. You have a couple of GeoGuessr clans. They're upcoming. Are you in one, Ziggy?
Yeah, my clan is the Rainbow Private Clan, but
I
we don't
see.
use any branding. We don't need to, you know. But I
I
heard
see,
you're
I
in there as
see.
well, so
Who knows? Maybe we have some clan competitions in the future.
yeah.
But those are the other results. We did get some insights on the Feneb Zigzag game. We did see insights on the Leero Kirania game. But on the other hand, we had Debre playing against Anu. Anu picking up 1 win, but Debre is still on his winning pace there, getting the win with 2-1.
Yeah, good day for Debre, and so far good day for Armani again. But next up, V89 Sheena. Really interesting matchup. I think just from personality-wise, again, I think very different people. I think Sheena very reserved usually. V89 can be a bit more outgoing, usually in text. So definitely going to be interesting to see that.
Yeah,
What do you
and
expect?
not only on their personality, also on their play style, I would say they are very different. I think Stroller is a very fast-paced NPC player. He likes to get his guesses down quick and just move on wherever. However, Sheena is more of the type of player who really gains every information he has. He likes to think through the rounds, I feel like. And in those terms, I feel like they are very different in their playstyle.
Yeah, as you said, they are different people, different ages. Also probably plays a part. This is going to be our next matchup, but before that, we need to take a quick little break, get something to drink, and we're going to see you guys in a few minutes. we are back from our short break. Jalotres, an interesting matchup coming up. V89 or Castrola, as you said earlier, against Sheena. Two very different players, as we talked before. What do you think? Will V89 adjust his strategy? I think on terms of Sheena, I don't think he will mix up anything because he always has the same play style. But V89 definitely adapts depending on the opponent. So yeah, what do you think? What will he opt in for?
Yeah, I don't think he really needs to change his strategy here. He's someone who sends in quick. Also on moving games, he doesn't really bother moving around. And I think especially against Sheena, if he did watch Sheena in the past, I think he will stick to that strategy of just getting his guess down quick.
Yeah, I think Sheena has one weakness, and that is getting nervous. And having only 15 seconds in a moving round where you're maybe not really sure in a big country is definitely a very hard spot to be in. So I kind of agree with you. That is probably a good strategy against Sheena. He gets those nerves even after all these games. But let's look at the stats. We have V89, 60% win rate, looking good. 64% precision, looking quite good. And that with 21 seconds guess time. Pretty impressive if you ask me. And it's not that the game count is low. It's already 15 games. So we have a pretty big sample size.
Yeah, that is very hard to beat. 64% is very high given the 21 seconds. However, we have a 32% win rate on Sheena with a 60% precision. Not to sleep on, also very high. And his average guess time is 33 seconds. It's not that slow, but yeah, in comparison, it is definitely way slower than V89.
Yeah, on paper, V89 looking quite nice here, but Sheena can always turn up because he is obviously one of all the pros. Specifies in big countries, that's why his precision is pretty big, because usually in smaller countries you can just click middle, and in big countries you just get the right region. As per standings, what do you think?
Yeah, we do have the standings here. V89 is currently in the top 12, which do qualify for the World Cup. So he needs to stay there. However, Sheena has to really win here. He doesn't want to be up there on the right side of the leaderboard. And we start off here in India on the moving game.
And we have no
V89 versus Sheena. No, we don't. Especially in a country like India and in an urban environment, I don't think it does make sense to send out quick. Because you will spot some language, you will spot, or like there's a good chance you will spot an address. Therefore, I feel like that instant guessing really has to be done on more rural locations and not on those. However, he still is the first one to guess here.
In Maharashtra, maybe he saw the Marathi language. That could have been a good clue.
Sheena a bit more inland, does adjust it closer to it. They will end up both in Maharashtra. However, Sheena is a bit closer. That could have been big points later on in the game, so V89 is happy that this happened on round 1.
Yeah, and Sheena wasn't really sure where he is, and then he found the exact same sign V89 was looking at earlier, so maybe that had the specific character that you need to distinguish Marathi and Hindi. And here we have a round that looks very 5K-able.
Yeah, we have the Sinaloa 20 on the sign, and
the Mexico 15.
Road. Yeah, the 15 was it? Okay. Yeah, well, we are on a bridge there. I think Sheena could be close. No, it wasn't really that bridge.
And robbed off the 5K.
Closer in. Not a 5K, no animations for us.
Sad.
We move on to the next round.
Yeah, a country where information is also very good.
Like, yeah, Bangladesh, I would say. Given the looks, you have a lot of addresses, and very good addresses in Bangladesh.
Yeah, V89 spots the address but doesn't read it. I don't know if he just read it very fast or if he just doesn't read.
Didn't even spot it in that time.
Let's see, because he guessed pretty specific in the southeast, so it seems like he saw something. Yeah, he definitely read something.
Indeed, wow. That was a very quick pace to read the right information on all those signs he had there.
Yeah, we are way too old to read that fast. Come on, you have to give us a few seconds to even spot that there is some information on there.
I'm gonna say it was a delay.
Yeah, probably the delay.
And we are in Brazil. With this pavement, we should be pretty far south in the country. Rio Grande do Sul does make a lot of sense. V89 has his guess down. And Sheena,
Sheena
also
very
pretty
far
far
north.
south, but for the standards of this round, he's pretty far north.
He switches last
Adjusting
second.
it a little bit.
Good switch there by Sheena.
And yeah, he is happy about getting that guess down or the adjustment down, going further south.
This will not be good for his nerves, because that just means his instant, first guess wasn't as good. So he might question himself in later rounds. And we
probably also confirm for V89 that his strategy of fast sending works out this game, and he will probably continue with that.
Not on this round though, it's way too easy to get the right intersection on this one.
Yeah. Yep. We have the A2 on it. We are between Morven and
Cunnamulla. Cunnamulla.
So yeah, they are in between. Now we are in a town, therefore I would suggest guessing in towns, and this time we get the 5k from Sheena. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the animation.
Beautiful animation.
V89 a few meters missed there for getting the 5k as well, but he will not care really.
Perfect score he won't, because it won't matter. We are in Brazil with those three. We should be somewhere around Pirana, Santa Catarina. Perchance also Sao Paulo. Can have it in some regions.
Yeah, I would be surprised if you don't go Santa
most
Catarina
common.
here.
Yep. Go to south, they end up both in Santa Catarina. Couple points for Sheena. Not much happening, and we move over to round 7.
Yeah, but now insta-sending gets more and more risky as the multipliers go on, because you're still giving him 15 seconds, and that might be enough to find a sign. Probably not in a round like this. This looks like we're in the middle of nowhere, somewhere in Colombia with the black car.
It's a very committed guess, I must say. It's pretty far east from V89.
Maybe knows something, let's see.
It was
south though.
Now, when I say east, I'm talking about in the area where it doesn't make sense. Because if you look at the map, he is in the middle of Colombia, but most of the coverage is in the western half of Colombia. And given the mountains, those are also only in the west. So therefore it was pretty far east, just to clarify my shout. And we move on to this round, which is Russia.
Yeah, we have tilted left antenna, which is usually found in the very western part, usually almost always west of Moscow or maybe south, but both in the same region, kinda.
The vegetation also makes a lot of sense, those tin trees.
Wow, Sheena using the multis here, almost winning the game on that round.
Wow, he could have won there. He could have won there.
V89 now on the verge of losing. Will he still insta-send? Inwa, this looks like we have information again.
We are in Western Australia with these polls. We have some town signs. Now it's about getting...
Not the biggest town
right
names.
road.
I've never heard of any of these.
No, it's about finding them and getting the right road here to maybe close it out for Sheena if he is close enough. Especially on 5x damage. Don't have to be too
V89
far
found Collie
off.
River, and we're gonna be in between those two, so he will not 5k this, but he will be very close, and Sheena can lose if he goes too far north here. So
He's
if he
going towards the right direction. I'm not sure if he is on the right zoom level. To spot the towns, he wasn't, and that's a couple points.
yeah, but that could have been way more if he actually spends those 2 extra seconds to actually like triangulate where you are.
I'm not 100% certain, but with a 5k, or if you're at least on the right road, it could have been game, maybe.
It could have been way maybe even in points, but now you're going into the last round here. Final round, 5.5x. We're gonna be in Spain. We just saw the no hunting sign, black and white. And we have an
both
Instasend
know.
again, even though Spain can have very good information on mile markers. And it says Castilla-La Mancha.
Yeah, Castilla-La Mancha.
That is
Okay,
very good
is
information.
Very helpful. He is confirming it. Sheena looking on the border that he actually is in Castilla-La Mancha, guessing it, and that will probably be game there.
Yeah, and that is very...
Was on the other side.
It was at spawn the sign, so V89, when watching this back, will not be happy. But I think even if he gets a 5k here, he will not win the game. But he had the chance.
That's
he had the chance in
always
Australia.
the risk you take of... There could be a sign somewhere nearby, and you kind of gamble that it's not there, and you get a better region guess down. In this case, it was in favor for Sheena, though.
Yeah, Sheena will be very happy going back to spawn there, because that's where the information was. He was already off moving. They both spotted the sign at the beginning, but it didn't look like it would be too helpful. But through a few leaves, you could see that it actually said the region.
Yeah, if you know it, if you know the region, then you can read it, definitely.
Yeah, thankfully, Spain definitely one of those that doesn't have too many regions, especially in the middle. The northern parts have a few more, but especially in the middle, they should both know every single one. It's just not a lot.
Yeah, and we get ready here for the next match, which is no move. And let's see if V89 will still stick to the strategy of just guessing it down. Because in a no-move mode, you both pretty much spot the same things. Therefore, I would say it makes more sense to take your time and really gain all the information you have. However, we saw it in the Leero Kirania game. We're also on a round where you take a bit longer to... where you need a bit longer to think about the round and put the pressure down. Can help. We start off in what looks like Ireland or Northern Ireland.
Yeah, we have the very dark pavement, which is usually a bit of more clue for Ireland. We also have the York meat in the middle of the road, the grass. Also, kind of a bit of more an Irish thing, but in general I would agree that this looks very Irish. And that is where both players are.
Oh, there it is. Okay. I did have a hard time spotting the grass in the middle of the road, but now I see it, and now that should confirm that it is indeed Ireland, surely.
True that.
Unless it is not an island.
It is.
Indeed was. Both makes sense. Very reasonable guesses from both.
Yeah, Sheena was definitely on the border first between those two, so maybe got a bit of a vibe for that kind of region there. Speaking of getting a vibe, where are we?
Looks like Asia. It looks like Thailand, or no, it is. I think we had Java poles there.
We have a white
Oh,
car.
it is Thailand. I can't really tell it. It looks like Thailand to me.
Those poles looked like they would be Thai.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also the general landscape with the white car especially as well. The only other option is really Philippines. Could see Philippines in the middle, but I think Thailand is a better guess here.
Yeah, definitely with this landscape, way more likely to be Thailand.
Sheena still taking his time though. Which, you know, he's entitled to, so... And, wow.
It's just
Definitely
right
use the
outside
time.
Bangkok.
Sometimes it's just Bangkok. Yeah, there was some interesting polls there, so maybe those were the famous Bangkok polls that Rainbow mentions.
Shout
They
out
look a bit-
Rainbow for the Bangkok meta.
Yeah, I've used them a few times, and so far it's been pretty consistent.
Yeah. Do we have a holy poll here? With those you consider either Hungary or Poland or Romania, but given the looks, I would say
He's in
Romania
Bulgaria,
makes the
though.
most sense.
Now he switched to Romania. Good. Good switch there.
Yes, indeed. Yep. Was quite hilly. I mean, you have some hilly parts in Hungary, you have some hilly parts in Poland, most likely Romania though.
Especially, I think the architecture there was very helpful. Not the
I
best
agree.
houses, if you understand me.
Yeah. Also, these fences are very common in Romania. We have there the concrete fences.
This pavement looks like Poland, so I would definitely like the Poland guess. Not the easiest round
I
to get the
agree.
country, but I think with the pavement, both players will get this.
Yeah, again, it's like a default guess, I would say, given the looks. Where you think there is a chance of it being another country, but most likely to be Poland.
And it is.
And they do the default lodge hedge on an understringed round. And we move over to round 5 already.
Yeah, they need the multis here. Or very hard rounds. No move definitely pretty much capped out in terms of how skillful all the people are that are playing in this league. Very similar, I would say, especially in the no-move department.
True, true. And we are back in the Philippines. We did see a couple Philippines rounds today, and we did see a couple Philippines rounds that did cost a lot of points. Because it is hard to region guess most of the times. I like the Davao guess again. We have a couple trees that look like the Davao trees. It actually was Leyte though.
It was Samar even.
Or Samar, yeah. It's on the other side.
But yeah, these islands, they look so similar. Like,
Yep.
Don't think anybody really knows.
Very
the difference.
diverse. You can have like a lot of different landscape there, and with this camera quality and this size of a mountain, we should be in India again. We have a very quick guess down from V89.
In Maharashtra again. I kind of like that with the dryish mountains. Let's see where Sheena will go. Definitely under a bit of time pressure. Not the most time. And he goes very far south here. Very risky. Let's see if that pays off.
He's trying to adjust it. He does stick there. He doesn't adjust it.
He got the west coast vibe there though. He's on the right coast.
Yeah, however, V89 in the right state there. But still pretty far away. And we are in Japan.
Can Sheena use this round? I mean, doesn't look like the most information. We have a pole top that looks like a Tokyo
It
pole
looked
top.
like a Kanto pole top, but yeah.
But it looks like we have a horizontal plate. I'm not sure.
Yeah, they both are around Kanto, and it is Ibaraki, which is also part of Kanto, so they are both making use of that knowledge to survive one more round and move on to the next round, round 8 with 4.5x damage here.
But what are we looking at? We have a Brazil
We have
pole
a
here.
Brazilian pole, we have some palm trees. What am I looking at?
This is a very hard round in terms
This
of
is very
landscape.
difficult.
And the low-lying sun doesn't make it easier because you can't really tell how green something is.
Yes, I have a very mixed vibe. It looked coastal to me, like north coast
My
in
first,
first glance, but I could also see an east coast here.
my first vibe was almost like Maranhão or something in the north, but it's very dry, as you said,
Yeah.
which doesn't really fit. So maybe like a Bahia guess where V89 is could be right, but with the Tocantins.
Yeah, I like to guess. Ooh, I didn't think we are that far inland.
I don't know. This could be
Yeah,
anywhere
I wouldn't
really.
agree with Sheena here. I think we are a bit more coastal.
But both of them pretty far away from the coasts.
It was indeed, looks like to be in Bahia.
That's gonna be
That is actually game, wow.
enough.
The 89 getting pretty close there for Brazil standards.
And evening
given
up the
the
game.
location. Yep.
Going into
And
an
we
MPZ.
move over to NMPZ.
Yeah, definitely a very hard round, but actually I have to say, even Sheena got pretty close. I mean, 400 kilometers might seem like a lot, but on a location like that in Brazil,
Yep.
that
Definitely.
is still a decent guess.
Definitely could have been way further away for sure. And we are back in Japan here with this wall low cam. We have this pole, we have some bamboo. Again, a very hard location. I don't know if you have the right information on the pole that you want to make out. We have an Okinawa plunk down from V89.
Makes sense with the bamboo, usually found more in Kyushu and the islands, but
It looks pretty warm.
it looks pretty interesting with this big wall. I wonder what lies on the other side. And Sheena says, wait guys, you
Nope.
are talking crap. This is middle.
Yeah, however, V89 did switch back to mainland. Still hedging towards the islands though. He has those island vibes. Sheena isn't too sure at all, I would say. He is sure at all. He did plunk it down there, and it was indeed in the middle. Very hard round to get.
Yeah, it was just
He did look
coastal.
confused to me, but he was right there right away.
Yeah, coastal in the middle can also be very deceiving as to how warm something is. It's just summer.
Yep. And we have a South Africa here. They both end up going somewhat western in the country. I thought it's a bit more north with how flat it is, but definitely also some flat areas there. And Sheena is on the right road. He is happy about that one for sure. Gives a confident boost, even though it's only 600 points on round 2.
Yeah, he's Bing chilling right now, if you ask me. 2 rounds in, already 2.5k points on his clock. But it might all not matter because we're in a big country again and it's NPZ.
We are in a big country. It does look like Australia. We have the sun in the north. We have this red dirt road. Very flat landscape. Looks grassy. I would say Queensland does a lot.
Yeah,
sense to guess.
Yeah, the other option is like inland New South Wales. But I think numbers-wise, it's safe to say that Queensland is probably the safer guess.
I would agree. Like central New South Wales on the label can have a lot of
Mount
places
Isa,
that
very
look like
risky
this.
guess. On the other
It's very
hand,
committed.
but it works out.
Yeah, works out.
And this is maybe what
a
Sheena
couple
needs,
points.
just be on a roll, making good guess after good guess, because I think if something goes bad in the first 2 rounds, would he commit that far north in Queensland? Maybe not, because that
is
kind of have to be
question.
sure about it, and he's getting lucky with the rounds.
Are back in Japan. We have some yellow guy wires there. I don't know. From this image I can't tell if it's the standard one or another one. But we have a guest down from V89. He doesn't want to give Sheena too much time to think it through.
We have some kind of water there in
There's
the
a
north.
lot to work with here. We have some buildings to use, architecture. We have poles to work with. We do see some landscape in the distance, see a mountain range, and it was very far south.
I was about to say, the guy wire almost
The
looked like
guy
it was thick on the
wire
bottom.
Was the southern one. But yeah, it was pretty far away, so you couldn't really tell if it's the standard one they use or the Kyushu one, and we are... Seems like to be Argentina, I would say, in first glance.
Yeah, looks like the sun is somewhere in the north. White road lines.
Again, nothing to work with here, really. Don't see any mountain range, just a flat field. You could use the road alignment here, a bit hard to tell in an MPZ.
Yeah,
However, it is slightly southwest.
yeah, Sheena's road doesn't line up quite. The road angle's too steep, I think. But you know, you have to... But it is the right road.
Don't doubt the goat.
The goat.
Don't doubt the goat.
Never mind.
Sheena known to be
Ratio.
very good in Argentina, and he does show it off here. And not only in Argentina, he did play perfectly.
In that game, yeah, despite missing Kyushu in his own country, I think the other guesses were quite impressive in an NPZ matchup. Yeah, not very interesting seeing V89 getting pretty much dominated in this MNPZ game. Didn't really have a chance anywhere, just was pretty close, but Sheena was just on it every single time. What can you do?
Yeah. You can do nothing. I mean, you are happy to see your home country a lot of times. It's probably a country you do practice. And therefore, I think he was happy to get that. On the other hand, V89 probably wasn't too happy to see a lot of Japan. Maybe blame it on that. But in the end, he did play very well, also in other countries, so very deserved win for Sheena.
Yeah, I agree. And we're going right in. Feneb and Katzu, France, Australia.
Moving
already
versus
in.
moving.
Round 1, so didn't miss anything yet.
No. But yeah, worth mentioning, both are moving players. They do prefer the moving mode.
Yeah, Feneb more so than Katzu probably at this stage. I think Katzu definitely switched his focus to the other modes.
And you can already tell by the way they play, they check those texts on the bollards here. That's something you always do as a moving player. I think a lot of players in the competition would just fast move it out of this way.
Yeah, Although it has to be said, some people agree to not use fast moving against people from Australia or from
it
Asia generally.
seems like that's the case here because Katzu
Yeah.
could, in theory, fast move. But they did agree to play it out fair.
I found a
both
kanji
do
here
slow
on the
move.
state route, so if he
It's
learned them,
very hard to read. It's very hard to read.
let's see if Feneb can do it. If anyone can do it, it's Feneb. And he seems to know it's Gunma. Maybe it is.
Yeah.
Now he's looking for the
scanning.
3-5-3, and he found
He
a
has it.
3-5-3.
He has the road. Katzu is in Kyushu though.
It's going to be massive points. Second round.
1.5 is enough to put him down to half HP already in round 2.
Yeah, as we just saw, impressive. Using off the knowledge. Probably Feneb can't read normal kanji, but you just learn the prefecture, how they look, and you just remember how they look. You can't really read the letters.
Definitely.
It's pretty funny. But yeah, that's just
Yeah,
things you have
shout
to
out
do,
to
you
him.
know? That's just things you have to learn if you want to be very good.
Yeah, and we did have a couple partner on spawn here. I think it said Riao. It was a very short word. I couldn't make it out. So, could have said Riao. They are both in Riao.
Yeah, Katzu looks very committed. Looks like he found some type of town or something.
On the right side.
Feneb not happy. 250 points, come on. Come on, buddy. It's not the end of the world. You're up a lot.
And we go over to the next round, which should just be La Paz, I would assume.
Oh,
A big city. We should be in Bolivia. We have a flag. We have those brick buildings. We have the white Google car. Big city. I'm actually not so sure anymore, but yeah, I think Sucre makes more sense now.
Yeah, Feneb tried to read the sign. Now he's zooming into Potosí or Sucre. Makes sense.
We don't really have the mountains you would get in La Paz.
And the grid lines up,
And
so maybe he
Oruro
likes
would
it.
also be too dry, and this is green enough to be there. Both end up in Sucre with their guesses. And that will be only 8 points.
He's almost falling asleep over there. Or maybe he's just very concentrated.
Yeah, trying to get locked in. We have this camera quality you get in Finland from time to time.
Yeah, the only country in Europe with this camera quality. But now we moved on to Gen 2 with snow coverage, which was a meta for Oulu in the northwest.
Yeah, very common in south of Oulu, the snow coverage. However, I think you also have it in more places. Therefore, you can't really just rely on that.
But I don't know, I kind of like the guess just because I don't have anything else to work with here.
Yeah, I don't know what they are trying to find. Probably the end of the road to get a town sign.
Yeah, Katzu
Maybe,
definitely
or like-
not using fast movement to be a fair sportsman here, has to be said. Will somebody send Oulu though? Or south of Oulu, as you said, that's where usually the most coverage is. So far not, but as you said, it's everywhere pretty much. And yeah,
There's
that
a
would have
couple clusters.
that would have been a terrible guess in terms of Finland.
Yeah, there's not a lot really you can work with in Finland. In Sweden you have stuff like bus stops where you try to find a bus stop on your way, which can be regional or something like that. However, in Finland it's only really either the coverage you can know or town signs.
Or maybe how
And
tall the
road
trees
numbers,
are.
of course.
That's also
Or that. I mean, it was pretty high trees.
That is true.
And we are in the United Kingdom here. We are driving on the left. Have the signs pointing
Ooh, we had an
towards the
antenna there,
left.
which is very common in Scotland.
Yep.
In southern
In the
Scotland.
Scotland one. There are a couple more areas with this antenna now, but with the looks, I agree. It kind of looks a bit more northern. I would trust it. I would probably, at this point, send it down.
But
with
I
the
think
hope.
it was only seeable for a very short amount of time, or visible, I should say.
I full trust you on that one.
So maybe it was shit so, but I think we're in southwestern Scotland, and he's considering Northern Ireland though.
Dumfries guess makes a lot of sense to me.
Agreed. And it is southwestern Scotland. The antenna does not lie, in fact.
Yeah, area around Dumfries, pretty much. Most of it towards the west. Does have this antenna on the car. That's also something the pro players have to learn. Some car-specific stuff, and we have a very interesting mountain here.
Yeah, we're gonna be in Oman here, I think.
It's a very spiky, single-standing mountain. Could be recognizable, maybe.
Yeah, maybe they should have taken that mountain and just shape it out for the pyramid. Why did they build an entire pyramid on a flat area? I mean, it was alien, so we all know that, right?
What if they all are based on mountains like this?
Could be.
Could be.
As to where this is,
However,
Oman,
Oman, not something players really have practice on, because it's fairly new coverage. Only came out like maybe a month or two ago. So let's see what they can make out of this one.
Yeah, both of them
They're
trying
both
to
in
find something.
similar regions, though.
Yeah, they are
So
very close.
this will not be any point at all. However, we have Feneb. Almost on point, 4997.
Yeah, Katzu can be happy he got this close.
Guess.
28 kilometers is a pretty good guess considering he didn't find anything really and couldn't scan the right valley.
Yeah,
So-
the right region guess was crucial there for him to stay healthy enough to play out this moving game on the last.
And it says Russe,
3 rounds.
Oblast Russe. That's a very good information by Feneb. We're on the river. Very hard round to get maybe if you don't see the sign. We could see the game even because 4.5 multiplier, but maybe he gets the river angle and knows. Wow,
Yes, he does.
river was quite big. Not that many rivers in Bulgaria, to be fair. That
It's not 100% certain, but with the alignment, he thought that makes sense. You could see him zooming out. That's what players usually do to find other angles that make sense, where the river goes along the northeast, next to a big city, and he couldn't spot any else, so...
Yeah, if we weren't
well
underwater,
done.
that could have been even
Yeah.
more points.
Definitely.
But yeah,
We
nice
have
usage.
Bangladesh again. I can't read it. It's pretty bad quality.
It said something there.
Something with T or P. Oh,
Can't read that. Does it really say Bogura?
does it? I don't think so.
Well, that's where Feneb guessed.
Bogura or Camilla? Could say Bogura. I mean, the second letter is a gu, so it has something with...
And I saw Katzu pinging there last second, so he was about to switch, and we will see the game. Katzu will not be
wow,
happy.
that is actually the game. If you look at this location, it's right on the border, all the way out, so even a middle guess doesn't really make you survive this round.
Yeah, we saw the pings there. That's always very fun to see for us, because we know that, okay, he wanted to switch in the last second, and he was right there with Feneb, and he would have stayed alive for the final round. But now he's 0-1 down to Feneb.
Yep, that is very unlucky. And as you said, it's actually quite nice to see, because people tend to say, I was about to, I wanted to, I swear I guessed. And it's always a bit hard to believe people, but we clearly saw he tried to change his guess. But now starting off in what seems to be his home country, France.
We have a Belgium
However,
guess.
Feneb is going Belgium. He thinks it looks off. But it indeed was France. Also a pretty nice region guess from Katzu there. It wasn't the easiest one to make a good region guess on.
Yeah, it just looked very flat to me, so not sure how you guessed that, but
Yep.
we have some national park coverage from Kenya with the snorkel, of course. I think it's one of those like southeast of Nairobi, but I don't know the name of.
Would make sense with the landscape. The soil looks a bit more sandy, a bit more gravelly, a bit more sandy. That's something you see more in the east rather than in the west. In the west it gets a bit more red. And towards Mombasa it gets a bit more sandy and gravelly.
Yeah, Feneb.
So yeah,
very
we
different guess, I
both
think.
end up in a national park. He is on a road that us have this road alignment. But Katzu is actually in the right park. That's good points. That's good points.
Yeah, he's off to a great start here, but...
Kenya standards in round 2.
Yeah, off to a great start here. 2 very impressive guesses. Feneb.
Yeah, and we are right back.
Yeah, Feneb zooming in very far here. Whoa. Did he spot some water there? Because I think he has... Why else would you zoom in this far?
Yeah, maybe? I don't see it.
Maybe it's south.
Oh, there's water. There's
It's
water.
north,
Yeah.
okay.
There's a big body of water, so that makes a lot of sense. I don't think you have any other big lake in Kenya, with the size.
There are some smaller lakes in the middle, but usually you see the land on the other side, so definitely should be somewhere here. I like Katzu's guess, given how flat it is.
Yep.
Okay, does that island have coverage? I don't think so.
I am not sure about that one, but it doesn't matter. He's still closer.
Wait,
And it actually is on an island, I think.
what is that? I've never seen a location there. What even is
It
it?
looks like it's surrounded by a body of water.
Okay, I have to check on the map real
Quite
quick where
sad
that is.
we don't see a zoom in on the locations.
It is just a peninsula. That is very interesting.
Oh, it was a peninsula. Okay, that also makes sense.
Insta
And
guess, just a free
we
Yucatan.
have those rock walls, yeah. Vegetation is very distinct in this region around Yucatan and Quintana Roo.
Yeah, Yucatan stopped being Beatty in about 2022. People get it every single time. Before that, it was maybe like kind of hard, but it's very recognizable these days.
Yeah, definitely an area of the world you can get just by given the looks.
And this looks very similar to the round we saw in Armani and Spaghet's game, where it ended up being very north. This almost looked like the same road, but
Agree, but this time we don't really have any banana. We don't have any palm trees. So in those terms, it's different, but the landscape overall looks the same.
yeah,
Therefore, I'm a bit confused. I like Bohol, actually.
very interesting, like slightly mountainous, very dry. Will it be north again? And both players right now are not in the north.
Yeah, I really like the Bohol guess. They are both hedging towards it. I can see that.
Will somebody switch in the last seconds? We will see. But seems like both of them are happy with their
2,
guesses.
1, and they leave it there. And it actually
It was
is
Somba.
nuisance. Wow.
That's why we had the weird pavement, not like the like the concrete
Maybe
slabs.
also explains the lack of palm trees and bananas, maybe?
Yeah, interesting.
I don't know.
I did consider Indonesia for a second, but then I thought, yeah, this looks like the exact same round we had earlier.
To me, the pavement was very off for Philippines. We didn't have the concrete slabs. We had like this pavement you get in Indonesia, but everything else did not look like it to me.
Yeah, because usually in Philippines it's either concrete or it's usually just not paved. Unpaved roads are a big matter for Philippines, just like rocky gravel roads.
And on this round we are, seems like Italy. We have a lot of wineries, and they both consider the southern region. Makes a lot of sense because it's super flat. Inland you get more mountains in Italy. And it was the coast of Sicily.
That is a very hard round to get. Sicily usually a bit more mountainous, but we're just on the very, very flat part in the west.
Yep.
Usually you have some type of elevation even on the coast in Sicily.
I do agree. We have a C-type antenna here, which you find around Moscow.
Do we have a state flag or
Mostly.
oblast flag here, maybe? I don't see the flag. No, none of them are looking at it, really. But it doesn't look like the Russia flag, right?
No. Is it the Tatarstan flag?
I'm
No.
not sure. Maybe it's just...
I think it's just a washed out Russian flag.
Okay, maybe. Yeah, it almost looked green to me for some reason.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it kind of looks like we have green blur here. Maybe it's the camera setting that makes it looks a bit overexposed. But yeah,
I think
as I said, we
somebody
have the
in chat
C-type
will know.
antenna, and we have the guess around Moscow here from Katzu. But both guesses do make sense for this C-type antenna here. Let's see on which side it is. And it was on Katzu's side. He is very close in the right oblast.
Maybe it was a flag.
Almost game.
Who knows, really? Is that for Lokta Oblast? Not really
I
sure.
think it was in Bologna.
Or Yaroslav, I'm not sure.
And yeah, we have this very lush green vegetation with a black car in Argentina. Does make a lot of sense for the northern states, or provinces I should say, for Argentina.
Yeah,
see it in Formosa,
with the road angle, I want to
Corrientes.
say it's more Formosa, but it could still be.
Yeah, as we see, Katzu is on a road.
I mean, he's lining it up right now.
Kind of lines up, but we are on a curve. You have to consider that. Like right to the south, we do
And
change
Feneb is
directions.
guessing Paraguay right now. Funnily enough, he's right in between the two regions I mentioned. He's also considering Corrientes and
You
Formosa.
can not do that with 530 health.
I would agree. It's kind of wasted because you have to kind of commit one of the two.
It can still pay out. If, let's say, it is Corrientes and Katzu goes Formosa, then he will be closer. Or the other way around. But, yeah. Let's see. In this case, if it is Formosa, then it did pay off. And it's Uruguay.
And it's Uruguay. That is funny. Well, he almost survived by going Paraguay.
That is the win for Katzu.
Yeah,
Very interesting.
especially in that region of Uruguay. Usually if it's hilly like that, you usually consider more the southern parts. But there are some hills in the east as well. Crazy
We
around
had
there.
this Uruguay cam, to be fair. But that's something you realize in hindsight.
Yeah, in
People are
hindsight,
gonna
yes.
say, how did they not get it? It's Uruguay camera. That's easy to say. But it did look a lot like Argentina.
Well, evening out the game, 1-1. NPZ,
Yep.
no more looking around for those two fellas.
Nope. And we start off in a fairly big country. It should be Russia, I feel like.
Both in Ukraine right now, though.
Bollard.
No. Only Feneb in Ukraine.
Yeah, the Bollard looks more Russian to me. I'm not sure. Do we have a poplar tree in the distance?
To me-
Because that's more common in Ukraine, I feel like.
Yeah, but it could also
But
be like
the road isn't
southern,
really red
southern Russia,
tinted,
right?
and-
Because we don't have any birches,
Yeah.
or maybe like Krasnodar.
The road doesn't look like Ukraine to me. The season does.
I could see a southern Russia here, maybe Ukraine. Let's see where it ends up being.
Actually is. Yeah, the season did fit. I must say the road didn't look like Ukraine at all. Because usually you have either a worse condition of the road or you have a red tint on the road most of the times.
It
In Ukraine that
can be hard
was
to tell though,
definitely-
because we had some kind of overcast.
But yeah, poplar trees are way more common there, and the summer coverage as well. And we move over to this round. We have a single white line.
Interesting, because I was considering
interesting.
Indonesia.
Yeah, I agree with Indonesia here. Usually more yellow roads than white roads, I feel like, in Indonesia, but you can definitely also see white roads from time to time. And I think in Malaysia you wouldn't get a single white line.
The thing is, where do you guess in Indonesia here? Like, my vibe guess would be Kalimantan.
I'm going Java here.
Okay, I mean, we have... Is that a pine
If I
tree?
have a
Maybe.
guess.
If that is a pine tree, it could be good. My vibe was
Because you
just
don't really have a
Kalimantan.
good clue for anything else. Therefore, I think Java makes sense.
Both are near Jakarta here. Not
Yeah.
even hedging the middle of Java.
Let's see, let's see.
Wow.
Okay. Another
That is a bit of a wild
what?
one.
That
Didn't see
is
a single
crazy.
palm tree there, right? Or like anything.
I don't know how to get that one. I don't know if
Maybe it's the
anyone
white
gets
line.
that one.
Who knows?
The white line is definitely in a lot of provinces, so it is definitely not some region-specific thing. However, here we are in India again.
But I can't see the
The
language.
architecture looks like West Coast to me.
Yeah, it looks
I
like
almost want to say it looks like Goa.
yeah, it looks like Goa, Kerala, especially with all these palm trees. I can't see the language though, because if that is
No,
Marathi, then yeah, I
yeah.
kinda like Feneb's guess here.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, Katzu was on Rajasthan there for a
You
second,
like
got me scared.
Yeah, this shouldn't be Rajasthan, I don't think.
I don't think we're very far
anything
away from the
along
coast.
the west coast does make sense to me. Or maybe even east coast.
Should be
But
west
I think
with
west
the car.
coast is more likely. Yeah.
Boxed car.
Especially with the car,
usually
yeah.
in the
Around
west, sorry.
Mumbai, around Goa, both make sense. And it was around Mumbai.
Very interesting to see that Katzu is not going on the coast, even though that looked like we're not even 1 kilometer away from the coast. Judging
Yeah,
by how
and
many
he
palm
was
trees.
very far west in the country, so at this point you can fully commit probably, but only a couple points he's missing there. We have a bollard here, so therefore it should be... Looks like the Hungarian one.
Well, I can't see the bollard really, but if both players zoom into Hungary, I will trust them.
Slovakia also has this one. There's a similar one in the Baltics, but yeah,
It
should
looks like
be
Hungary, regardless.
Hungary, yeah. I agree. The vegetation fits, the road fits. And yeah, a random bollard right there also fits for Hungary.
Actually in the hilly part of Hungary.
Yeah,
Despite
very
not
close to
seeing-
the national park.
And we're already on 3x damage in NPC. That can be massive, especially in a country like Brazil with the red soil, with the corn. I think we have.
It's very, very flat. So what does make sense here? Mato Grosso could make sense. Western Sao Paulo could make sense. I think... maybe it was... I'm not sure.
Well, we don't have to make a good guess.
Do you
They
have
have to
region in Goiás that are this flat?
in the
Probably,
east, maybe, but
because that's also something.
kind of very
I would
committed
probably
here.
click the tri-point between Mato Grosso, Sao Paulo and Goiás.
Yeah.
And that's where Katzu is. So.
Feneb is very risky there with Kirania because it can't be really further south than that. But it pays
It
off.
was Mato Grosso, yeah. He is indeed getting closer, that's good points. Building up a good lead here.
Don't
Until
think.
we get a round where they only have to to get the right country.
Speaking of getting the right country,
It's one of them.
can you see that plate?
My very first thought was Latin America, but
Is it actually a Guat blur? It could be. The rest of
yeah,
the
I
round
thought
could be.
Guatemala, but
I really like Guat with the blur, so
yeah. Also the fact that it's panned to that direction.
don't really see Saba, but it looks weird, so and Saba can be very weird.
Yeah, I like both.
We will
guys
see the
actually.
game
It doesn't really
regardless.
look like Guatemala to me, but no, it wasn't. Okay.
Wow, it is Saba and
20 kilometers as well.
17k
Not only that.
damage. Katzu taking it home.
I think it threw Feneb off that the camera was pointed towards the back. What you think if it's a right-hand drive country. However, it was a left-hand drive country, so we were looking at the right direction of the car. And that's something that can throw you off. It made me think Guatemala, but the landscape didn't really fit for me. Also, the car was a bit weird. Therefore, the Asia guess makes a lot of sense. And not only getting Asia, getting Saba there was very impressive by Katzu. So GG's here, picking up the win.
Yeah, also one other score from another game. We have Captain taking a 2-0 victory over Amarain. And yeah, nothing too surprising there. As you mentioned, Katzu with a very nice guess there. Even the car in the distance we saw was driving on the right, so I don't blame Feneb at all for that guess.
Yep.
Couldn't even make out anything there. And when he sent Guat, I was like, yeah, okay, that's actually makes sense. I was kind of with him there, but yeah, a bit of a rough day for Feneb here, taking 3 losses in a row. But as we see, Captain is up there with Blinky, RC. Very interesting, I have to say.
That is indeed a very interesting top 10 so far. But we are still somewhat early. People are getting warm though. We are somewhat getting used to these Sunday League games. And they still have to be locked in for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and we just mentioned Captain being at the top there, and that's also going to be our next matchup. It's going to be Captain against Pan, and since the last game went so long, there's going to be no break. So non-stop actions for you guys, no breaks for us, but we don't need breaks. We're professionals, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, Captain Pan we're gonna go into the stats and see. I mean, captain stats need to be pretty high. I mean, as we see, 75% win rate there, 65% precision, my god, and 35% guess time. Normal, maybe a bit longer, but doesn't really matter if you have results like that.
Yeah, that is very impressive. Therefore, this looks very low. However, 37% win rate is fine. Precision 59% is very strong though. That is very strong. 85 guesses with 4.5k plus average guess time of 31 seconds. So Pan can really pull something off here.
Yes, that's why he's captain putting on big numbers. Can he live up to those though? We will see.
That is a great question and we're gonna find out now. Captain versus Pan. Here's their standings on the leaderboard. Captain in the top 3 right now with 18 points. Pan somewhere in the middle. Don't know exactly who has more games. I think Captain has more games. It was hard to tell, but Pan also played very, very well last week, I must say. Therefore, yeah, not someone you should underestimate.
Yeah, and with a win, actually, if Captain wins this game 2-0, he could jump to first place for a moment until the later games, but no, always nice to be at the top. And we're gonna start off in a town called Knock. So
we are in Knock. Do they know where Knock is? We're in Ireland with those dashed lines on the side of the road. We have Irish signs. Those houses look very Irish, white with black roofs. Very common.
Ooh, and Pan actually in the UK Pan, there.
Sure, I mean, I think we had a lot of cars to look at.
We also had the yellow dashes, yeah, everywhere. Maybe a bit nervous there at the start.
In a moving game, if you don't know, you try to find a license plate because Ireland has white plates and the UK has a yellow front. Therefore, can help.
Yeah, Pan definitely needs to lock in. That was not the best round considering we had so many. And there's a very good sign for Captain. Tocantins road number.
Don't see it on my screen anymore.
Yeah, sadly blocked for us, but he is still scanning for it. They are a bit ordered, but they can still appear randomly. Will he find it? But it looks like Pan just sent Mato Grosso. Because he didn't see the sign.
Still pretty close, just next by.
Could have been way worse if you ask me for just sending on a Brazil round like that. Especially because flat Tocantins can be pretty hard to get and you always confuse it. Especially with Mato Grosso.
Definitely, and this looks pretty far southern in Argentina.
That seems to be very good
information. We have signs to
here.
Trilou. Trilou is on the east coast, city on the east.
Yep.
Yep. Captain has it. Does make good usage of those signs, but Pan also right on it, trying to adjust his pin to find the 5k. He's looking for this off-road and this bend. However, it shouldn't be somewhere up there because all of that span is pretty straight. Therefore, he is still fairly close, but Captain a little bit closer.
Yeah, so far Captain definitely living up to his name, should I say, or more to his numbers. I think not the most known name, but we saw him at DreamHack. Actually, at DreamHack, he had a very tough opponent with Macam and Blinky. I think they lost 5-0, him and Consus.
Yeah, no shame on losing that.
Yeah, I mean, we see how Blinky plays right now.
Especially with moving involved, they are very, very strong. And we have good signs again here for both. Kakadu is south of Lesotho. I've had a round in there the other day. Yeah, Pan is on it. With Captain also locking in.
Yeah, he's gonna take the time to maybe find it. Interesting to see. Yeah, Captain just opting in to just, you know, fast and doesn't care too much about the few points he loses here. And was maybe gambling for Pan not knowing these towns, which, you know, can happen. South Africa, not South Australia. South Africa has a lot of towns that are on the signs that are very hard to find.
I do agree. And I want to say we are in the United States.
Yeah, we have no front plate, I think.
Yeah.
There's a
okay,
state
we have
sign.
State sign. Was that Pennsylvania?
Yeah. Pennsylvania 233.
Pennsylvania specific state highway sign. Very small towns here, Green Park and Landisburg.
You are not finding these towns, that is for sure.
You don't, they both end up around the Bald Eagle State Forest.
Yeah, still crazy close guess by Captain there, if you consider how big Pennsylvania really is.
Yeah. We move on to this Peru round.
Just a Lima cent here. Wasn't my first thought, but...
It does make sense given the size of the mountains.
It's very
here.
green though, so we should be a bit further inland.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Captain's guess. Let's see it. He's on it again.
Very good region guess there, picking up a bit more points.
Yeah, he's definitely adding on to those precision stats, that's for sure. I mean, so far he hasn't been further away than 4.5k points, so...
Yeah, but we are in
Lithuania.
Actually.
Yeah. We have the angled sign, which is Lithuania.
Yeah, that's a Lithuanian bollard. We have those square linear poles. Summer coverage. Everything fits.
No big points here, but wow, I mean, he's just getting close.
I mean,
and close.
from both, I must say, it's a very good region guess.
I mean, Captain basically in the dead middle, but sometimes just in the dead middle, you know? Don't really need to vibe guess anything.
Nope. We have this sticker.
Wow,
just
Pan.
confirming that it is France. Pan slamming it down again.
Super
he
risky
doesn't
guess.
want to look at signs. He just wants to put down his region guesses. He's trying to turn it around. Doing that. Will it work out though?
I'm not
I'm
sure.
playing it a bit more safe, and that region guess did definitely pay out. He's picking up good points here, bringing Captain to half HP.
Yeah, using the multipliers there, getting back into the game. And one more guess like that, and the game is won by him, even though it didn't just look like a clean sweep from Captain. But anything is possible now.
I agree. Yeah, we are in Colombia, it seems like. That's my first thought.
Ecuador. No, I'm not sure anymore.
No, we're in Gen 4. Okay, we have long plates. So I think we are in Brazil,
Brazil,
actually.
yeah, what am I saying?
Okay, it's saying
Oh, there's a phone code, definitely.
area code. I can't tell what it is.
Captain thinking in his head where this is.
Yeah.
But I think
Southern guess does make a lot of sense to me.
And Pan is in a lot of trouble now because I don't think he will get that. That doesn't really look like Rio Grande do Sul to me without the phone code. I think we're gonna see the game here.
Yeah. If he is correct, that's going to be game, and it's almost bordering Uruguay very far south.
It is
in
the border
Brazil,
town.
and that is game for Captain, picking it up, the first mode in this matchup, the moving game.
Yeah, pretty flawlessly by Captain if you disregard the France round, which, you know, Pan just had a very good region guess. But other than that, didn't really allow any mistakes to happen. But even in the rounds where there was nothing really, like in the Peru round, he still got super close. I don't know, it just seems very well-rounded in this moving mode, but...
Definitely, I would agree with that. We have some rubber tree forest here. You see a lot in southern Thailand, you see it in Malaysia, you see it in Indonesia. With this car, you only consider Malay and Indo.
And I really like Lampung Sand because Lampung has a lot of these rubber tree forests, but it could also be something really weird in Kalimantan maybe. But other than that, I really like Lampung, and that was also the first thought of Captain, and we see Pan's pin in Lampung. So yeah, I kind of like the guess. It's kind of hard to say Pan's pin.
pan pin, yeah, very similar. But yeah, I like the guess as well. I can see that, especially given the soil color, which you also see a lot in Sumatra, this red soil. Over the whole island, at least. Well, it was actually pretty far north. North Sumatra there.
Never seen a forest like that up there, but there's always a first.
Usually more oil palms in that area, oil palm forests. But yeah, can happen. And this looks like Austria. On first sight, I would say.
Yeah.
What do we have? What is the car? We have a white car.
We have a white car. This is not Turkey, though.
Then I don't think... No.
The thing is, which is weird for Austria is that we don't have a single guardrail or bollard here.
Yeah, there's nothing.
And we have a Slovakia, however, which makes sense with a solid
That does
middle
make
line.
sense, yeah.
I kind of like that. I'm not sure if the...
Also, I think white car does happen in Slovakia, right?
I'm not sure. I'm very surprised that it is white car. So Romania could also.
Well,
be.
it shouldn't be Austria because Austria doesn't have it for sure. I don't think.
Captain is switching between Romania and Slovenia, so I kind of.
I don't think Romania. I like the Slovakia guess more.
It could be Romania though. This has very similar, but I've never seen a white car as well. And it is.
But it is. It actually is. I don't know when they released the white car. Could be new coverage.
Could be new. What also is maybe an indicator of Romania is that there's no bollards. Usually Slovakia and Czechia like their bollards. I mean, they're everywhere.
Yeah, especially on a curved road like this. And there was a good amount of traffic on it as well.
Yeah, this round should be pretty fast. We have West Kalimantan poles. Both players should know this, especially with the landscape.
Looks kind of distinct with the hazy coverage.
I mean, if you know, you know.
Like it's sunset. So if you know your sunset roads, then we will get a good guess down. But they are both in West Kalimantan. Still a pretty big province, I would say.
Yeah, especially because we have one pretty north guess and one pretty south. But both agree that this looks coastal, both not going inland. And I have to agree.
And it was in the southern pocket of West Kalimantan, therefore a very good guess from Pan committing towards that region. Not covering a lot of West Kalimantan, but he's getting rewarded for that region guess.
Yeah, and we are onto a very base country, if you ask me. We're gonna be in New Zealand with this kind of road. We should be in the east of the North Island. Kind of Wellington. I think it should be Wellington, or maybe a bit north of that, but...
Yeah, that's what I would have guessed.
Should be on the border between Wellington and maybe a bit north. And it was Wellington. Captain knowing. Very distinct coverage. Wellington got a few updates in Gen 4 a few days ago, actually, but the rest is pretty much Gen 3. So if you see Gen 3 and it looks kind of weird in New Zealand, kind of barren hills, consider Wellington.
Very good guess from Captain there. We have very interesting stickers on those poles. I've not seen those before.
Don't go France here. That might be
No.
a bit of a red herring there.
It is a blue sticker, but it is not the French blue sticker. It should be Poland. I don't know if these are regional. But yeah, we have those holy poles. The architecture looks very Polish. We have those trees along the road.
Okay, Pan's guess is worrying me a bit. I mean, I didn't get the northwestern vibe. None of these buildings really looked coastal. But maybe no...
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Romania, though. Don't think it's Romania.
Oh, he's in Romania. I did not think Romania either.
Especially with the pavement again.
No.
We had an earlier round.
This road and this sidewalk, I don't know, that looks so Polish to me.
And he switches last second. And gets closer even.
Just middle.
Yeah, from...
No point in region guessing in Poland.
Yeah, interesting thought process there by him. He was in the very north and then he switched to Romania and then he was in the middle. But sometimes, you know, it all works out in the end.
It does indeed. And here, I'm actually not sure. Is it Cambodia?
The fields look very Cambodian with the soil combined. Almost looks like Thailand.
Yeah.
Especially we have a house on stilts there, and Captain
we
saw
have
it.
some houses now. Yeah, that's confirming it. And yeah, let's see. It's around Phnom Penh. The capital click does pay off.
Yeah, 800 points in Cambodia. Pan actually didn't really see the house, but still was pretty confident on Cambodia, sending pretty quickly there. I don't know if I would send that quickly there. Would take me maybe a bit longer.
Yeah, I can see that wasn't the easiest one. We do check copyrights here because I agree it does look quite like Germany, but it seems like it isn't 23. Okay, those buildings.
We have no car, which just confirms Belgium.
Yeah.
No car coverage, pretty common in Belgium, and that combined with the looks makes it pretty easy for those two. Yeah, and we're entering multiplier territory here, 4.5x in round 8.
We have octagonal poles, which you do see a lot in Mexico. We have a white brick.
Ooh, white brick.
Should be a bit more west. I am not so certain. The landscape feels very weird to me.
The question is, will we just see a CDMX guess here? I mean, I could see maybe Jalisco almost. I don't know. Not sure what I'm looking at. We don't have any red bricks, so I wouldn't really go west. Yep. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Maybe just CDMX.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to add here on terms of clues to region guess this one. It looks very nondescript to me, so a CDMX guess does make a lot of sense because you cover a lot of regions with coverage. It is very far south in Chiapas. Wow.
Yeah, Pan going east coast there, getting rewarded a bit there with the points, and now we're dead even, and we have 2 rounds to go, but will we see the last round even? But it is Bangladesh.
Yeah, Bangladesh. Pretty hard to region guess most of the times if you don't have the right copyright. But they have it. I don't know if Captain saw that and does use that to go towards the Chattogram region.
Seems like a very risky guess, and we have 2 completely different guesses.
They are both on the other side of the country, yeah.
Would be funny if it just ends up being in the middle.
If it's middle, then they will laugh it off. But if it's not, then it's gonna be someone's game here.
Yeah.
And it is for Captain. Very committed guess there.
And that means we will see a 2-0 victory by Captain, and he will jump all the way to first spot. Above Blinky, above RC, above Consus, above Finbar, all the way up there. I mean, to be fair, he has 2 more games than those 2, but for the time being, he is leading the World League.
He is on the first place for now. Very interesting match overall. Some very difficult rounds, some rounds where we were all confused, but yeah, was a good watch for sure.
Yeah, it was a good watch, and was a good confirmation that maybe it wasn't a fluke that Captain is all the way up there. I mean, right now, his curve is going up and up, getting those 2-0 victories, which are obviously very important to get those 3 points. And if he keeps up like this, I mean, you can expect a lot, especially in the majors and maybe even in the World Cup.
Yeah, definitely agree. He's up there. He is a new face to the competition, I would say. If you didn't watch the DreamHack, you didn't see Captain on stage yet. But he is making himself a name right now.
Yeah. But we have another exciting matchup. We have Sheena, we have Katzu. We saw them both earlier playing. Any thoughts on that matchup?
Katzu versus Sheena is interesting because, again, I feel like they are, again, kind of different. Not that different as V89 versus Sheena, but still, Katzu is a moving heavy player, whereas Sheena prefers no move. So they both prefer different modes, and I don't know what Katsu's strategy is gonna be.
Yeah, we see Sheena 36% win rate. I think that considers the games he played today, 59% precision. Nothing changed too much there, still looks pretty solid. On the precision standards, 33 seconds guess time. Also very, very standard.
Yeah, it's Speaking of standard, we have a 53% win rate for Katzu, which is a bit higher than the average, I would say. Then we have 55% precision, is somewhere in the average, I would say. But the guess time is a bit higher, 38 seconds here. Therefore, yeah, it's really hard to tell a clear favorite, I would say, since Sheena has a better precision. However, Katzu has a higher win rate. So yeah, anything can happen here.
Yeah, maybe Katzu just shows up in those crucial guesses where you really need to get very close. That's all that matters. We see both are kind of like in the middle of the pack. We see Sheena moved up a few places after his win earlier against V89. And I mean, if he wins this game, he might even pass Katzu. So
there's a good chance. There's a good chance.
We will see. But let's jump right into the action. And we have the box in the car.
Yeah, Senegal. The box was a bit more north, right?
It was on the road going northeast and goes all the way to Luga as well. Yeah, but on this entire road. Goes all the way east. I think both players should know. I don't know if it's...
Is it also on the road where Katzu is?
Yeah, I think there it starts and then it goes all the way.
Okay, it goes around. Oh, Sheena didn't spot the box. I'm sure Sheena knows
but it's also
that.
There. It's also there.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, then he does make an amazing guess.
It's the entire N3 pretty much.
Okay.
And then it goes a bit more west and in the north to Luga. But that's a very good clue, you know? It's just a random box in the car and you can just get the road by that. I don't know. It's kind of cool to me, but obviously a bit biased. Probably sounds like the dumbest thing ever to a new viewer, but that's just what we do, you know?
That's part of it.
It is part of it.
Definitely.
Not everything.
So we have a lot of info here. I can't make out anything on these signs, though.
And he goes
However, Sheena is very confident with his guess.
It's a Kabupaten and a town, so he should be, if he read it, it should be correct. Don't think he would get that wrong. Will Katzu get somewhere close? Looks close enough.
Yeah. Especially on round 2. Nothing to worry about still. Pretty good guess by Sheena there. Making good usage of that information he had.
Yeah, and taking good usage of the time he had between after his guess. He took a sip. You know, he knew the job was finished for that round. Let me take a quick sip there. And Sheena probably gets so much Japan today, I have to say.
Yeah. Especially on a moving game, this will favor him a lot. I feel like it is Kanto region though.
Ooh, but there's kanji. Chiba, probably, it says. I imagine.
Yeah, very smart by Katzu to go in quick, because moving games in Japan, if you can read kanji, will just end up like this, where Sheena is just 1 kilometer off the exact location.
Yeah, Katzu kind of got mocked there in Kanto region. Definitely instantly got the pole plate there, but Sheena not just reading the kanji, but also finding the road number, which also pretty hard because they're pretty small. And what do we move on to?
Yeah, my thought was United Kingdom.
Yeah, interesting town name there, though.
On the left, yeah.
Almost sounded Welsh.
Yeah, but I don't think it really was Welsh, was it?
It looks like we have 2 languages. Tueth. Tueth. Alexander House. Okay.
We have a domain. It is UK. Let's go.
Yeah, even pros can use domains, you know.
They are happy to know the country now. But yeah, I would agree. The language.
Maybe it's just a town name.
Maybe a bit more. Could be.
We have a Northern Ireland and a Scotland, so
it could be Scottish. I don't know.
We'll see where it ends up.
Yeah, it was Scotland. Wow. Didn't look like... I mean, I feel like that's in every country like this, where if you are in an industrial area, it's so hard to make a good region guess, because you don't really have buildings that have region-specific clues. You know what I mean? It's like all industrial buildings, and it's pretty hard to make a good guess based on them.
I mean, obviously, they are built for efficiency, not how they look. They just build, okay, this is the best build. Just spam it everywhere. And Sheena found something. He's zooming into Nebraska here. There's a water tower which gives the name of the city usually in the US. Always a nice thing to look out for.
Yep, I agree. And again, we have those pines which you see more north in the country usually. But you can also get him somewhere in the middle.
Sheena found a road number there, 224 US highway. Not the biggest one, obviously, but...
Nope.
And now he switches all the way over to...
Scanning all over the whole country. Going back and forth, and now Katzu also opens
He
the
is in
map,
Nebraska.
looking it down in Nebraska. And it is Indiana with his Fort Wayne guess.
That
He
is a
will close out the game.
clean win. Not a single point of damage to Sheena there. Sheena was starting in Nebraska, and then he... I don't know what he saw. It's still the same number he saw, and then he just randomly was on the right road.
Yeah, both considered Nebraska there. Don't know what it exactly was, but we move over to the no-move game. And now Sheena is more favored in this matchup, I would say.
Yeah.
Starting off in South Korea, though. Both players will know it's South Korea, however, making a good region guess here. I would say it looks very wintry.
Good call.
So you go northeast.
True. I tend to agree with that, usually. Can't really go wrong
But
with
there's
that one.
no snow.
I mean, it's round 1. Does it really matter?
Nope. Therefore, you can go for it.
Nope.
And still move on to round 2.
Yeah, let's not talk about
South
this round.
Korea,
I mean,
very difficult.
clearly
to reach,
we're
I
all
guess.
bad. See, this looks more guessable.
We are in Brazil now. Kind of similar like the other round. Again, very flat. Maybe a bit more hilly now, so... But still, again, I would say Mato Grosso makes still sense. Or Goiás.
Yeah,
One of the two is what I see.
Yeah, Katzu was in that game, the round you were mentioning. Was against
Yeah.
Feneb. It turned out to be Mato Grosso do Sul, and
Yeah.
Katzu now is very far north, like Tocantins border. Not what I really thought about. I thought more, yeah, like Mato Grosso, Mato Grosso do Sul.
Yeah, I like that plunk down from Sheena. Those 3 states make sense to me. Goiás, Mato Grosso do Sul. And let's see where it ends up being.
Katzu just switching in Goiás doesn't really change
They're
his guess.
both in Goiás. And it is Sao Paulo, actually right over the border.
Yeah,
Oh, it's Minas. Never mind.
yeah. A
The
wise man
pocket of Minas.
a wise man said, just guess Uberlandia on every single location, and you might win every single game.
True, the Uberlandia hedge is a known one. And we are in Iceland here with those yellow bollards. Big body of water.
And land on the other side, so, you know,
Happens in a lot of places. Usually, if you have that in any other country, you are happy because it's findable, but in Iceland, you get that a lot.
yeah. Seems like
So
Katzu already
therefore-
found something he likes.
I like the two, that guess looks good. However, the road is bending differently. Yeah, where he plunked now makes more sense. But we have an off-road, I don't know if that's mapped.
It is a no-move map, so it doesn't have to be mapped.
Yeah.
Maybe the house
It's
could
leading
be...
toward a house. I don't know. The off-road on Sheena's plunk looks right, but the curve looks wrong to me.
Yeah, we're also very close to the water on his
Yes,
screen.
yeah.
Doesn't look like we're right on the water and there's a building.
See? Yep. That's Iceland for you.
Yep.
And we move on.
I mean, it was exactly the same thing. It was opening up to the east. We had land on the other side, but that happened sadly up there as well. So,
Yeah, it's very hard to tell.
okay, this is a very interesting bridge.
Very, very interesting round. Let's see what we have.
I mean, it just feels like Sweden, but I've never seen a bridge like this in
Yeah.
Sweden before.
Also, the looks are weird. I mean, it should be the southern half, right?
Russia with white car up there? It Does Russia have white car there?
I'm not sure.
It could be Finland, but yeah, it's just Sweden.
Sheena. Mm-hmm.
That's
It was pretty far north in the country, given how forested it was, and how tall the trees were.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, very good guess from Katzu there.
Yeah, good guess by him.
Getting
Not sure
good
what
lead.
Sheena did there. That was a bit surprising because
There are a couple clusters here and there in Russia with white car, but
Maybe.
I don't know if you get it up there.
I mean, I mentioned the bridge was weird.
Where?
I don't blame him on that one.
Yeah, it definitely looked weird.
But the famous pole, the
Yeah,
Thai pole.
We have the pole with the holes in it. You see that in Thailand. You see it in.
There's a province abbreviation on the pole. The 2 letters in the bottom should be the province, and that's why Sheena
2 letters.
zoomed in all the
Okay,
way.
he's trying to combine the letters, or
Maybe. But yeah, that definitely said
it does
Udontani.
work out. Wow. Yeah, he probably did use that. That is very impressive.
Not something you
Those
do a
2
lot.
letters on the pole to get the right province in Thailand.
Yeah, that's something very rare, I have to say. Didn't see it too often yet. You have to be very close to the pole to even see it. And I don't think every single pole has it. We're gonna be
Yeah.
in Australia, driving left. Looks
Yeah.
like Queensland
Somewhere
or
in,
NSW coastal.
Yeah, I would say the East Coast does make sense here. I think it looks a bit more northern, so Queensland is something I like.
Oh, McKay is a very risky guess, but it looks very northern. I have to agree with that. It almost looks like
There's a big river again, like a big body of water going along the city.
I could see this even being
And
like
there aren't too many cities covered if you think about it. You could go for a scan here, but only 15 seconds left.
I kind of like Townsville or maybe Cairns even though I don't see any palms, but
Katzu is trying to find that body of water. You can really tell him
Sheena.
switching over. He did find a good place with a big body of water along it. Was the right one, but Sheena not too far off. Just right outside the city, but
yeah, a
Got
lot
right, right?
happened there on their screens, both scanning
yeah.
everything basically on the coast and ending up in the right spot.
Yeah, I'm surprised both did end up in the right city there,
Yeah,
given how much they did pan around on the map. And now we move over to Colombia.
yeah, we had a dark gray car and
Oh,
with
yeah.
the Colo cross there in the
Yeah,
distance.
we have the cross there. But again, making a region guess here is very difficult to me.
Dark gray, and it looks like 24 copyright maybe is pretty common in the south, in the very south, but it doesn't seem like all the way in Pasto to me. So maybe a bit more in the middle. I like.
Yeah, I don't see anything that's speaking against it, but at the same time, I don't see anything that's confirming it.
Well,
And
Sheena's
you see
sending it.
Sheena,
Oh, he's
he is
switching.
swapping between north and south here.
And
But
Kratzu's
it
eyeing
seems
it.
like he is sticking there, just around Pasto. He's actually in Pasto, very far south, committed in Colombia. And it was
is.
the southern tip, right on the border to Ecuador.
And that's gonna be
That
the
will be
game.
enough to turn it around. Sheena did play it out amazingly.
Kratzu praying to the gods, why did I not stay in Pasto?
Wow.
Good question. But you know,
Yeah.
sometimes those first instincts are right. Sheena
Definitely.
trusting his gut, sending it all the way. And taking the win and passing Kratzu, I think. So now Sheena,
Probably did it.
pretty big step. I think he was at place 32 when we started, and now he's somewhere in the 10, like 15 range. So pretty good. Pretty good day for him. So he can be happy.
Very, very well deserved. Sheena did play amazing today. He did put off some very nice guesses using very, very interesting information like the abbreviation in Thailand on the pole to make a region guess. That has to be something you gotta pay him respect for, spotting that and making use of that. And also committing all the way south in Colombia. Very, very deserved.
Yeah, deserved win for him, taking home the 3 points. We also had another result with Anu winning against V89 with a 2-1 win. Again, surprising, V89 dropping those crucial NPC games which he's usually known for. So I'm interested to see whether that is just for nerves or whether maybe it's just a trend now.
Yeah, I feel like also a big part of it might be the locations we get on an NPC. They are very difficult. I mean, you have to make it difficult. You have the best players in the world here. You can't make it too easy for them. But that will result in, yeah, results that you don't expect.
Yeah, and we see Captain on the throne right now with 9 matches. Blinky, Radu, both 7 matches. But for now, Captain enjoying the view on the very top. Zigzag also jumping up a bit more. And despite V89, you know, losing both his games, he still took 1 win or 1 point from every match so far. So he's still, you know, fairly up there and top 10. I mean, that's not bad, so he'll take it.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like we already get a good view on who's getting on the top and who's struggling a bit, but always keep the game numbers count into consideration. There's still a lot of games to be played for a lot of people. And yeah, some of them are today.
Yeah, and speaking of the man at the top, we have an interview ready, as per usual, after every weekend. We have him here. We have Captain. Hello, Captain. How are you feeling after this pretty amazing day for you, I guess?
Yeah, I'm feeling really good, for sure. I'm definitely happy with the wins today.
George, was any question you want to ask him? I mean, there's probably a lot of questions, because people don't really know you. So there's a lot to ask here. Anything in particular that you want to know of him?
Definitely. There are a lot of questions. But for me, the most interesting part for me, for the players, is always how confident they are. Are they just locked in and playing? Do you feel any nerves, or do you just feel like you're playing on your own? How is it for you?
Well, I'd say like the first day I felt quite a lot of nerves, but since then it's felt quite natural to play, I think.
Okay.
Do you think playing at the DreamHack did improve getting this confidence? I mean,
Yeah,
that was your first time on stage, so maybe you get a bit more confidence from that.
Yeah, for sure. I got used to being on stage a bit. Yeah.
That's good. Well, congrats, you're on first place for now. Try to keep
Thank
that
you.
going.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, what can I say? Congrats again. Pretty good performance. I didn't really expect it at the start of the World League, but I think that's kind of what it's all about. You kind of have a regular schedule where you see people play, and then you really know who is good, because usually we have a very small sample size, but I think as of right now, I'm very impressed. So yeah, any more questions, Gelotris?
That's it for me. I'm looking forward to see more from you, Captain.
Yeah,
Thank you.
get those guys at the top. Good luck. All right, that was interesting. Always interesting to see new faces, especially when they come up like this. I mean, seeing somebody that wasn't really that known in the community going all the way up against RC and Blinky. Not something I really thought about when going into the World League. I kind of thought it would just be the usual suspects at the top, you know, and the rest kind of be like, okay, maybe somebody plays a bit better, but seeing him at the very top, definitely very interesting. So yeah, we can expect a lot from him.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. There are a lot of new faces. I did expect that. Also, looking back like 1 or 2 years ago, I already was thinking there are for sure people who just play a lot, who are very good at the game, but just are not involved in the community enough to know them. So I think those players will just pop out of nowhere in the next upcoming years.
Yeah, they will pop out. We saw a bit of him today, but we are not finished for today. I mean, we are finished, but Bloom and Jake will take over this evening in a few hours. Starting with Armani Genji, and then we have a few very interesting matchups, ending off with a Polish on Polish action with Stefan against Swan Gambit. Any matchup that you want the viewers to really look out for this evening?
Love to see that. Yeah, I mean, it's always nice to see country face-offs like Def, RC, US versus US, and Stefan Swan Gambit. You already mentioned it. Poland versus Poland. We have Ocean Man against Def later on as well. And we have RCA against Ocean Man. So we have a lot of same country matchups later this evening. So I'm looking forward for them.
Yeah, always looking forward. You kind of want to see, okay, who is maybe the best player from the US? I mean, it's probably RC, but maybe he's not. Maybe Ocean Man, maybe Dev can show, you know, we're also here and kind of need to stay on top of your game. So yeah, but definitely interesting to see.
You never know.
Yeah, I think we're finished for this session. It was a pleasure, Gelotrus, as always. Thank you very much for your commentary. Anything you want to say?
I have to thank you. I have to thank the viewers. It was fun, as always. Very good games. Thank you to the players. Yeah, giving us a great show today. And yeah, we'll see you guys later on.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for casting. Thanks for the people hosting view parties. It's always nice to see that they're spending their time with their community watching GeoGuessr. And that's kind of what it's all about, you know, playing GeoGuessr in a community. So I'm very happy to see that. Yeah, that's pretty much it from us. I hope you guys have a nice evening and enjoy the rest of the games later on. Until then, have a good time. Goodbye.